off with a toast to Lou, huh?
Don't toast with water.
There you go.
Don't toast with water. It's bad luck. I'll drink it for you if you don't want.
Yeah,
God can't
I'm
see in
lenting
here.
right now.
So am I.
That's good.
But so am I. But God can't see in here.
Nicotine. It's
I
worse.
should have picked that too.
Yeah.
All right, so this is to Lou. About a week from now, he's his anniversary is passing.
To Lou.
God bless Lou.
I feel like we had to have like a big thing of whiskey just to like guzzle.
I wish I
Like
brought
with-
that. I wanted to.
Just for Lou.
I saw Lou. I
Big
texted
fan.
that to Zach. We're at Hooters. We're at Hooters.
Say it ain't so.
And for whatever reason, Lou pulls out those giant like 2-liter handles of Captain Morgan pre-made Long Island's.
Damn.
And like that's what it is. The waitress is taking too long. So it's like, fuck it. So he pulls out this handle and he guzzles like, and I'm just watching him and he doesn't stop. And he's still walking his feet at the end of the night.
Yeah, that's Lou.
I mean, in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's good genes.
And that's also very
good
resourceful. And I
good
think of Lou
genes.
Capaldi. I think of fitness, and I think of resourcefulness.
Getting shit done.
Lou is the epitome of like the young infantry guy, just like
Absolutely.
partying, hammered all night, and then still crushed it the next day.
Absolutely, yeah. If he smoked, he would have a cigarette afterward, but he didn't. He was like, I care too much about my body.
You would say that too.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I love Lou.
Look, there were 130 something of
funny.
you guys, and for the it's tough as a commander because, as I said, there's a lot of you and there's one of me, and usually if I know who you are, it's not a good thing. But that was you guys. That was one of the few exceptions to the rule. The 5%ers who are not pains in my asshole.
Oh yeah, we're sharing these stories not because
Capaldi was definitely a pain in the asshole. I would say.
he had his moments.
Did he really ever give you any trouble in a command?
Absolutely not. No,
you
no,
see what
no.
I'm saying? So like,
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a maniac.
Well, he had a personality. Everyone loved him because like he was just an animal in everything he did.
he like if this were a Braveheart movie, like he'd be right at home. Like he's that guy just at home swinging that damn what do you call
Broadsword.
it?
Yeah.
No. What's the ball and chain thing?
Oh, yeah,
the
mace.
The mace.
Yeah.
He'd be right at home just smashing someone's skull in. Right?
Oh yeah.
But the
Yeah,
problem
no
is we don't live in those days anymore. So it's just out of time. Oh, thank you. Savage. See, speaking of savage.
Yeah.
No iPhone. Doesn't know how to use a coaster.
No, it brought nothing, right?
Yeah.
Just the overall
That's pretty good.
POS. Yeah.
No,
That's right.
great
Former
seeing you
commander's
guys,
got
man.
you.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right. So obviously we're doing this. We do this quite a bit. Now we take breaks here and there. It's kind of a fun thing we do with the podcast. And let's just thanks for coming on. And
absolutely.
let's get just a little introduction so we can get going and stuff.
So you're looking at me.
Yes.
So you want me to introduce
yes,
myself?
I do.
All right, cool.
Well, we'll go with you, and then
All right.
obviously the sir gets to go last.
Yeah. All right. Mike. I was the company RTO. Our deployment for 2009 through 10. That was actually my second time back there. The first time I went was young private infantry, and we were stationed at Medderbrook. So we were there when it was like the Marines. What do they call them? PRT? No, it wasn't a PRT. I forgot what they called the Marines. Anyhow, but there were maybe 40, 50 people there at the time.
Wow. Yeah.
But it was fun to return back to that same valley and was like, oh, I've been here before. Oh, that yeah. But yeah, that was it. That was it for me. I mean, at the time it was like an E5, and I got moved from was that in 3rd platoon? Sergeant American. Was that third?
Yeah,
that was
you
third
were
platoon,
platoon.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was
And then he got poached.
I got plucked. So that was like kind of where I came up in, right? And so, to see all these new faces, new people coming in from Rhode Island, and then other people getting just pulled out, I was like, this sucks, But, it was a different challenge and a different opportunity, and then it worked out for me, I got to do some intel stuff, and, learned a lot about the workings, right? The upper echelon, so to speak, of, running a company. So,
And you were in Bravo Company your entire career?
my entire time. I signed up February 06, and I went to basic, came home in August 11th. Actually, I graduated basic. I'll never forget it. August 11th. I went and signed in the unit on like a Monday. Sergeant Aparicio was the rear guy, and he goes, "So the battalion's deployed, right? They're all forward." I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Well, all right, whatever." He goes, "You're going, right?" I'm like, "Don't answer." He goes, there are those who went and those who didn't. Which one do you want to be on? I was like, all right. So like 2 weeks later, I was at Fort Bragg training.
I fucking love it.
That's
Yeah.
how Risho didn't go.
Not to that one.
I know. He had just gotten back from Iraq.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Shout out to App. Good dude.
Yeah.
He's an FBI agent now.
Yeah, good dude, real good dude. But yeah, that was how I came into BCO. Honestly, right away. This was 06, and so we went 06, 07, came back May of 07.
Tap the table.
Oh,
You can hear it.
yeah, I'm very gesticular, right?
Yeah.
And
Is that the
I'm
word?
gonna bump
Is that
into
the word?
things. Gesticular or testicular?
I don't know. Gesticular. So
He's
is,
got
is
a-
that the word for
He's got his
that?
degrees in English.
Yeah. Which one do you want? How about
We
that?
ended up as an RTO.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, so I that's kind of where I ended up and how I started in BCO, and yeah, finished there and finished with that last deployment, and that was pretty much it. I mean, I'm not really that impressive of an individual, so I don't really have much to say.
You're a police officer now.
I am.
The great city.
Yeah,
Great city.
still at it. Yeah, still at it. We'll see.
It's a beautiful city.
What? Have you been?
Yes. I was being facetious.
Oh, I'm like, is he drunk already?
It's not a bad. There's the problem is that because you're just, in my humble opinion,
Yeah.
right. You're just immersed by.
Mike to
You're just immersed by in a
Absolutely.
the worst of the worst in
Absolutely.
every direction.
Yeah. When 95% of your experience is dealing with that 3 or 4% who are just bad apples,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It shades your outcome, right? It really does. So it's good to quote unquote rotate off the line every now and again, right? So you got to take vacations, right? You gotta burn days because it's such a high impact, high intensity for career field. And it's not the fighting, the shooting, right? Like I've never been in a shooting right? I've never had to like really, really hurt anyone, right? I don't see that often. It's the I'd say it's the subtleties. So here's an example. I went to I was telling my wife about this a few weeks ago. I went to suicide, right? Suicide, these things happen, right? The woman was 8 months pregnant.
Oh,
Jesus.
She's laying on it's this nasty, shitty apartment building, right? She's laying on the mattress is on the floor, and she's just laying there. And I'm like, why do you think this is a suicide, right? So I'm greeted by her husband at the door, and he's like, well, she's just not breathing. I'm like, what? This guy's being evasive.
Yeah.
I'm like, something's afoot here. All right. So now, like, spidey sense is tingling. I'm like, all right, where's this going? He leads me down the corridor to, the hallway to the first bedroom on the right hand side, and I see her, obviously, like I said, and she's in the what do you call that? Supine position, but she's on her side though, so I don't think it's supine. I think
Fetal
supine
position.
is on the back. Yeah, more so like that. Yeah. I'm looking at her and I'm like, damn, she's pregnant as hell. So I asked him, so how much? He was like, she's 8 months. I'm like, oh, damn. And he goes into it how she has 4 other kids that she does not have custody over. Right? They're all in the system. And I'm like, okay, why? I'm like, how much drugs does she use? Like, she's clearly a drug addict, right? And he's like, I mean, she only does about 15 bags a day.
Only.
Which
Only 15?
honestly,
Down from 20?
Well, I mean, it's not a lot. I mean, how it's not that expensive. How much do you think one bag of dope is?
Of what kind of dope?
I don't fucking know.
I have heroin. I have no
I
idea.
got $25. What are you gonna give me? I
Yeah.
don't know.
I would say $20 for
Yeah, right. So
she's spending $300 a day on.
no, so for one bag, right, about the size of a stamp, you can buy it on Park Street for $2 to $3.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yes,
Wait, what drug is this?
Because it's not
fentanyl.
Because it's not.
Oh,
yeah,
because it's not heroin. It's
Because it's
fentanyl.
not. Yeah.
Even a heroin though, at the time, it was back then. It was even cheaper, a little bit cheaper, right?
Really?
But
Than
it's
fentanyl?
Yeah. But what it was it was stepped on, right? It's stepped on being like
Yeah.
muddied,
Like
so to
cut,
speak.
yeah.
cut,
Water,
all
okay,
that,
yeah.
all that cutting agent stuff. Anyhow, so a bag $2 to $3, right? A bundle is 10 bags. A stack is 100.
Okay.
She would do a bundle to 2 bundles a day.
Jesus.
That is pretty typical for, you know, someone who's been in the game for a while, right? So anyhow, so it was an overdose. I remember looking at her arms, right, and trying to figure out, like, all right, is there any signs of, like, trauma here? Because, like, how do I know that this guy didn't, like, you know, slice her wrist or cut her somewhere? You know, he's just standing in the doorway, like, just hovering over me. I'm like, So I told the guy I was with, I was like, hey, walk him down the hallway so I can, like, kind of get in here. Now, I don't want to touch the body too much, right? Because, you know, it's evidence, right, of whatever. And the major crime detectives, they'll be pissed. They'll be like, Mike, why the fuck did you fuck up my crime scene? Like, come on, man. Like, this isn't how you found it. Say again?
That's what I would have said.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I don't, you know, I'm poking a little bit, whatnot. And I see she has, it was wild, right? She's got a little rope around her elbow. And there's a note to it. I'm like, oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
Start pulling out the note a little bit. And the note isn't like, to my family, I love you all. It's just to say, hey, these rings go to this person. Those shoes go to that person. And I was like, fuck, this was a suicide.
Fuck.
Damn.
And she said, the last thing, one of the things she said in that note was, I'm sorry to my kids, right? I just felt like there was no winning.
Yeah,
she was like, there's no, something to that effect. There's no winning, or whatever.
It's heavy.
And so that's the kind of shit, right? Like, 'cause I remember the paramedics showed up, and the lady, the paramedic was a female, obviously, and she broke down crying. Like, she couldn't take it,
some
right?
hard shit. Yeah, it sucks.
And I'm like, you know, you're expected to be that guy in a room. That's leadership, right? Like, you got to say, someone's got to keep it together so that way other people don't fall apart, right?
But doing that day to day is just like,
it's not even day to day, right? Like that's only happened to me one time, right? Like that specific incident. It's the totality of all those experiences, right? That come up, keep going, and you're like, you never really process it, right? Like you don't, because you don't deal with it, right? You never deal with it. And needless to say, without getting into too many specifics, I've had some time on my hands lately, more time, and I've definitely thought a lot more about these things, and these things are perpetual, right? You see a lot more of it.
Yeah.
And I understand why some people can struggle with certain issues, right? So I don't know how the hell we got all.
Nah, man, hats off to you, Mike. Honestly, hats off to you as a police officer, because I was saying earlier to him, I was like, on your best day, you're just babysitting a bunch of fucking adults. You know, and at the worst, you're dealing with shit like that.
Adults.
You know, it's like, hats off, man.
yeah, I don't want to do it.
So,
It takes
Mike's
a certain
also
nothing
a part-time barista, and you may have noticed because it got really dark in here.
Yeah, so that's me. That's all I got for now.
Barista Mike.
I want to put your lifting shoes on because it's about to get heavy. Where's your belt, Terry?
I just got a new belt. It's great. SPD. Nice. Fantastic.
I just got a new belt.
And he's like, for those of you amongst us who are emotionally weak, what you want to do is lift with your back in a jerking, twisting motion.
Oh, God. Well, thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
That's a hell of an introduction.
It is a hell of an introduction.
That might be the darkest introduction in the history of podcasts.
I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna cry today.
Yeah, where are we
given
going?
You know, like losing anniversary stuff. You had me like mentally tearing up.
You'd be fine. Yeah. Drink water.
He hasn't cried yet, so
drink
we've
water.
been working on that.
This is going to be a roller coaster of emotions, huh, Terry?
Probably, sir, because I was telling Mike earlier. I was like, I don't see you or anyone else often, but I remember at one of your parties. It was like a Labor Day party. We're all on the fire, we're drinking and stuff, and then you were like, yeah. Then we got the call that his heart stopped. I was like, whoa, when the fuck did my heart stop? But then we just kept going on. So like, this is gonna be great to kind of catch up on a lot of that.
Yeah, well.
That's how we found out.
But first, let's introduce you, and then you know.
I'm Marc Castellucci. I was the commander of Bravo Company, 102nd Infantry, as a captain in 2009 to 2011. Currently a colonel, United States Army. Sure. Doing my thing one day at a time. That happened to be my 6th combat deployment.
Oh, wow.
My 3rd to Afghanistan.
Can I ask you a quick question? Does it ever bother you the way they spell colonel? Because it bothers the shit out of me.
Really?
It doesn't bother you at all?
No, I never really. It wasn't.
Colonel.
Is it the colon?
Colonel.
The colon in there?
It's colonel. Like, how do you, where's the E?
Well,
That
it's
gives you
French.
Never thought of that.
It's from the French.
Give me the game. Give me some game so I can take it with me. I don't know.
Our rank structure is completely based on the French rank structure.
Because of the blue book.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Von Straben.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, keep going. I'm
That's
glad
it.
y'all
That's
all know. I don't know
major.
shit.
English
right?
major. Wow. You should read a book.
Sorry, I don't know French. Yeah,
Shots
right.
fired.
Sorry.
Shots fired from Zach's foxhole.
So, continue. I'm sorry, please.
With regard to where that came from, and also, the rank structure. You notice that the silver is higher than gold. So, like first lieutenant is higher than.
Yes.
That's because at the time when we established a rank structure in the United States Army, in the United States military period, silver was more valuable than gold.
Oh, didn't know that.
And since then, as you've once told me once or twice, shit done changed.
Shit done changed.
So Mike was my RTO for a year, and it eats away at my Catholic guilt quite often, that I did indeed perhaps work you like a Hebrew slave. And we got the good people of the United States got their money's worth out of me. He started off as an E4. I remember vividly.
You did?
No, you did.
Oh, I was like, wait, what?
No, you started off as an E4.
Yes.
We got to dig up the video of his promotion ceremony, which I know
I
he does not want to watch that. But that was
Good one.
yeah, that was good. We got him good. We're like, yeah, we're promoting you. Here you go. You're a corporal. I thought you were gonna cry. That was good.
Because
you're getting 5 and then you're like, oh,
exactly. I
here's
heard
your-
some rumblings like,
here's
hey,
your
you might get
corporal.
that
Is this in
5.
country?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is in country.
Oh,
This is
right
in
outside the
country,
talk.
in front of everybody, right outside the CP, underneath. We didn't do formations. You've been to Nagil once or twice. That wasn't a place to have formations because you would get shot. So we had, it was one platoon and a hodgepodge of everybody. They were all in on it except for him. I don't, great guys. They could keep a secret, I
POS.
believe.
Whose idea was this?
It's actually Brutus Seven's idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Bad dude.
No, come on, man.
Why would he play such a horrible joke like that on someone?
So, and I know you had been talking to at the
Yeah.
time. His wife was full time at home, and he's like, "Yeah, the paperwork's done. Like everything came
Oh,
through."
jeez.
It's
Oh,
like,
wow.
See what I'm
So
saying?
he knew
So
it.
you were like, oh, yeah, we're getting
This is
getting
getting
this.
Yeah, we
sweet.
getting this.
I'm wondering, was this after you got hurt? And we're going. It must have been.
I guess so.
I think you might have been at the Death Star either. So
You were probably locked away at the Death Star.
Yeah.
Probably
yeah.
were.
So
You
for
guys did a
anybody
lot of
who
time.
may or may not be watching this,
Yeah.
typical rifle company has 3 platoons. We got one taken away, and we always had one that was at the Death Star because if we didn't have a platoon up there, we'd get overrun and all die. So there was that.
Good call, by the way.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah. Well, it's just,
I appreciate it.
the 5 principles of patrolling:
Yeah.
planning, reconnaissance, security, control, common sense. Yeah.
Check that box.
Yeah, that's we kind of worked backwards from there.
Yeah.
Anyway, so to his promotion ceremony, we had everything. And Brutus Seven's like, you've never met Brutus Seven? I know you had. His name is Greg LeBeau. Great dude. I love Greg LeBeau about as much as I about as much as I'm willing to admit I love any man besides my son. Dude loves cigarettes. He would smoke like 5 at a time.
Dude, a first sergeant. Real first sergeant.
That's awesome.
You just
Right.
look like Marble Man. I just see him now.
That's perfect.
And if I can encapsulate his personality in one line, if you've ever seen the movie Office Space, he is Lumberg. He's like,
Yeah. Great radio voice. Yeah.
Gotcha, squared away.
Yep.
I have one
awesome.
video of him
Love it.
losing his shit once.
Really?
Yeah, it was
About
a
what?
JRTC.
Oh.
That was it. But I mean, like,
Yeah, everybody loses their shit at JRTC. so-
right? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
right?
That was why I've never seen that man
Takes a lot out of a
off
person.
that
No,
even
he's
kill.
and
Never.
that's like
Never.
you'd meet Greg LeBeau, and he'd be make you feel like you're his best friend.
Yep.
You probably thought it was a little weird when you showed up, and he's like, "Hey, welcome to BCO. I'm
Yeah.
the first sergeant. So good to meet you guys."
No, I don't remember that at all. Actually, I remember our first show weekend. We had information. He goes, in the way he talks, and he was like, "Yeah, so welcome everybody." And then he was like, and then he talked about his full-time job. And he goes, "So if I ever catch any of you smoking weed, I will bounce your head off the floor."
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, all right.
He was more
He's a
graphic
trooper.
than that, if I recall, because he went into explicit detail about if you sell, manufacture,
he's gonna-
associate with those who
jeez.
do. We had we were really big about zero tolerance for drugs.
But why was that? Because I feel like there were, there were probably a lot of examples, right, that you probably needed to weed through.
Yeah, I just couldn't deal with it, man. Like I didn't want to. I didn't want
It's
to.
a lot of a burden. I mean, especially on the commander, because you have to do it every time.
Agree, but what I'm saying is, I think I wonder, like, was the problem so rampant in our company that you guys had to set that tone like off the rip?
Really?
I don't know. I was never a drug user like that.
You know who we're talking about. I'm not going to name names, but
So that's a yes.
I mean, you can get that shit
I
right
don't
in
know.
Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I have asthma, so I don't smoke.
I knew that drugs existed, right? Like, obviously, but I knew there were onesie twosies. But what I'm saying is, like, are we talking about like 10% of the company was getting high? Like, is that what you're saying? Like,
no.
was it like a big
no. But
problem?
there were a number of problem children.
Yeah, and unfortunately, like in a commander standpoint, they take a lot of time.
Yeah,
that you don't
exactly.
at the time that you can do other things.
Preach.
And it takes a lot of time for it. Like because I mean, just knowing the process that I know, like full
kind of
timer
drug,
wise,
right?
it's like you got to do this, you got to do counseling, you got to do this, and then you got to decide on what you're going to do. Bring the JAG in, talk to this. It's a process. So it's a waste of time, really. Especially for the commander going to Afghanistan. Like,
Because now, and thank you for going down that road. It's because now we're dealing with somebody who wants to go smoke weed, or in a couple of cases, basically blow lines while they're at drill.
Yeah, that was wild.
And now I'm dealing with that, and now we're not training.
Yeah,
Now
exactly.
we're so now we're
3
we're not
days, grow up.
Yeah.
3 days.
Yeah.
Like, go someplace else, man.
Yeah. That's
You can't do this like when you leave, like on the way home or something. Like,
Yeah.
It all makes sense now. I stopped mid beer. I was like, oh, that makes complete sense.
yeah, it was so time consuming, and at the risk of sounding like somewhat pedantic here, my thing was that this isn't my first rodeo, and I know what we're walking into here.
Yeah.
Like we need to train. We can't be focused on all these nitpicky administrative issues, and then of course every single one of them became extremely litigious, because my thing was you want to blow lines at drill, discharge.
Yeah.
Sergeant American got another great American.
Yep.
Anyway, he had discharge dog. He had this little thing on his, and we were like, yeah, guess what? Piss hot, discharge. So
Yeah. No, it made sense. It made sense at the time.
I took a lot of heat rounds over that.
I'm sure you did.
I took
Yeah.
serious beatings.
Because we got to keep these people in.
Not
Gotta
just
keep 'em
we
in.
need to
Numbers.
keep these people in. Numbers game, yes. It was also, if you recall, at the time, the leadership said if you deployed last time, you don't have to go again if you don't want to. Remember that?
yeah.
Yeah. And then we're going to go back on their word.
Yeah.
And so now all of a sudden they're like, yeah, BCO's at, they got 100. Well, now they got 95. Now they got 85.
Yeah.
Now they got 75.
Ooh. Can't do that.
Right. But I mean, who's going to tell a commander you can't kick people out for drugs?
Yeah, exactly.
So that was the fight that I was fighting with Greg. And I was like, hey, man, if we're going down in this ship together. He's like,
Sold.
yeah, roger that, sir.
That was good.
And you were a Ranger bat before I started when you were active duty?
Yeah, I spent 4 years in 3rd Ranger Battalion. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. I did 5 combat deployments there. As I said, that was that was a great. I don't want to say it's the best experience you never want to do again, because like I have great memories there, but the operational tempo there is just beyond your wildest hallucination.
Yeah.
Beyond your wildest hallucination. I mean, we were if you look at it from the perspective of returning from a combat deployment, typically you get 5 days of like you land, and it wasn't like we had a yellow ribbon like welcome back. It was like the plane would land, get your shit, go back to the compound, and be back at PT in the morning. Like okay, and like battalion chain of command was always like, all right, listen, we're just gonna do half days, just show up for PT. We'll do everything. Those turned into double days because we were always missing something, whatever. So. I got home last night, and now we're down at, and it's like, well, it's 5 a.m. PT time, because PT is religion in the 75th Ranger Regiment, and for good reason. So you come back from however many months downrange, and you never know when you're leaving, and you never know when you're coming back.
Jeez.
Could be 3 months, could be 9. That's
Really?
just yeah. There wasn't like, okay, yeah, this is when we're going. Here's our send off. There was at least one time where we literally left in the middle of the night.
Well, I would assume you would know ahead of time. This is gonna be a 3-month, deployment, or 6 month.
No. You have no idea. You have no idea.
Is that for OPSEC reasons?
It's for operations
Yeah.
security reasons, but also because it's a tier 1 advanced ALO, authorized level of organization.
Okay.
Tier 1 asset that is a national level asset. So I mean, the federal government spends a lot of money
decides where it goes and
and trains,
when it goes
spends a
out.
lot of money to train these folks. So
Yeah.
they want to get their money's worth out of it.
Yeah. If you don't mind my asking, and I don't want to detract too much here, like the pathway, like what was your path to even getting to that place?
I did not want to be an intelligence officer when I got commissioned, but I got commissioned in 2000. So if you think about how that lines up, the late 90s, the Army was hemorrhaging captains because that's when we were building all the satellite infrastructure. So everybody was like, I have a top secret clearance. I can move every 2 years and get paid in the dark, or I can go make tons of money and not have to worry about anything on the outside because I have a clearance. So in lieu of saying, let's make this, let's figure out how to stop hemorrhaging captains, it turned into let's just make more lieutenants that will become captains. So I got force branched MI because I had a degree in computer science. And I was like, this is not what I want to do. Like I was not, it was all capitalizing on things that I was not good at. Spatial relations, making PowerPoint slides and stuff like that. And I'm oversimplifying, but
He's a PowerPoint guy. Stop.
yeah,
Well,
I am.
you have
but,
to grow with it.
He was very good at it.
If the
Very
Army
good.
has it,
Yeah.
it's what you do.
Right, but compared to my peers, like I was very, very, I was top half of the bottom third with regard to that. Anyway, I digress. Anyway, so we ended up, and I knew the Ranger Regiment would hire intelligence officers, so I was like, this is what I'm going to do. So I put in a packet. They were desperate for intelligence officers. I went to selection. Part of which is a long interview with a psychologist. I was like, all right, yeah, this should work out pretty well. And then it ends with an interview. The good news about that, and we'll give away any details because I did sign a non-disclosure agreement about that. Anyway, at the end of the interview panel, they say go outside, we'll make a decision, and then we'll have you come right back in. And by the way, it's not unlike a podcast. Like there's a camera right there, and there's all these people grilling with questions. And I went outside the room, and they deliberated, and they said, come back in. And the president of the board, whose name I won't disclose because he's a retired general now, said, I don't want you. You do not have any of the skills that we're looking for. You are clearly very, you have a lot of maturity to do. You don't know anything about your craft. But I'm the only one that feels that way. So you're hot. You can pass the archaic physical standards we have. So you're hired. And I was like, Jesus.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's great.
What was that phrase you used? The top half, the bottom one
top
third?
half of the bottom third. Yeah. I mean, I was a terrible intelligence officer compared to my peers.
I wonder if that guy definitely did that purposely.
No.
he's just like let's tell this guy he's terrible.
Again, this dude had it out for me because then fast forward a few years later. I was on a cross-functional team in an undisclosed location, and he was the cross-functional team commander. Yeah, and that was a rough.
He reared his ugly head again.
It's funny seeing you here again.
So packet, interview.
Packet selection, which was at the time 2 weeks. It's now 3 weeks because at the end of the 2 weeks of events, then they do the selection, and then you do. So then they kick everybody out who they don't want. Like go back to wherever the F you came from.
You don't fit. Yeah.
And now everybody else who's here. Now we're gonna show you what's behind the screen, and we need to start getting you trained.
Yeah.
And that grew out of a requirement because like a lot of these folks were coming from 70th Ranger Regiment always needs bodies. And with a lot of the leadership and the officers were coming from not just soft skills, but also, they're coming from the mech world, wherever. And they need orientation to the equipment. They need orientation to the tactics, techniques, and procedures. So there's a lot of time spent on integrating everybody into that. Like if you've never been in an airborne unit,
you don't know how it works.
You don't know the first thing about Mako-Daco procedures. Yeah. And now you're going to be a platoon leader or a company commader.
Can't go like that.
No.
Can't go like that.
And also, they don't want to make it so. It speaks testaments to the will of the regiment that they're always trying to adapt and be better. So that's why they're saying like we don't want just the best light infantryman or woman now. You know, we want the best person. Like you need to come here and blow us away with everything. So the fact that you're an armor officer and you have no idea, you know, how specific things that are very like you've never been on an airborne operation, that's fine. We'll show you how we do that. But clearly, we can look at you and we can assess that you have the mental capacity to learn how to do this and be good at it and be better than everybody else.
Except for that one guy who couldn't assess you clearly, accurately, right?
No, he was. I said, I've never worked so hard to be average at anything in my life when I was there. That was.
So you're intel the whole time at Range Regiment?
I was, yeah. I did get. I ended up commanding. I had like a weird sort of company command that was just a dynamically assembled team thrown together. That we worked on some very, very sensitive things that were just beyond my wildest illusions. I had a beard out to here. It was out of hand. It was completely out of hand. There was no reason for it. But you know what? I was last man standing.
Yeah, that works.
We need a body. And he's like, we got this mission and we needed basically a Nazi disciplinarian to stand this thing up and give me an airborne ranger. And I'm like, well, this guy's not really gainfully employed. So,
oh, wow.
Got him.
That works.
Yeah.
Got him.
And it was, that was a great, that was of my 6 combat deployments. That was, it's hard to decipher between the
like the coolest one, right? Or like something.
Yeah, it was definitely. Well, when you talk about like coolest, if you mean like, because honestly, the year I spent with you guys downrange, that is arguably my favorite, and arguably the best year of my life. Yeah.
You've seen some shit, I'm sure.
Just the intel piece of it too must have been pretty wild.
This is also during Fallujah.
Yeah.
This is during the Battle of Fallujah, the first one, not the second one.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on. We were pretty busy.
Yeah.
There was no shortage of shitheads.
It's pretty wild.
But then you fast forward to a few years later, that deployment to Nijil.
Yeah.
If you've ever read the book Lord of the Flies, that's not what it was. It was not unlike that. But as part of what made that such a rewarding experience was the people and the mission. Like there's, leading up to it, I'd been an OCS instructor when I left active duty, because I was just burned the fuck out. Like this was. That was
6
not.
deployments, yeah.
It was not
thing,
5 deployments. It was not sustainable. I'm sorry, it was not sustainable. And so I was like, yeah, I'm just fuck this. Like I want to do something else. Like this is like what else was I gonna do? I deployed 5 times, Bronze Stars, this that the other thing. It was kind of like, and I didn't really have anybody like this. So this is what you should think about for your next move. Mm-hmm. Instead. There was a battalion commander who was in 332 in the 82nd Airborne who was like a family friend. By the way, my mother died on my 5th combat deployment. So I came home and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. And he's like, yeah, so as soon as you come back, we're going to get you to the career course and then you're going to come up here and we're going to do 6 months in Afghanistan. We're going to get you right back to 3rd Ranger Battalion. I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm not really sure I want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, that turned into the surge, and they didn't go to Afghanistan. They went to Iraq, and that was the surge. And they were there for 15 months. So I think you can argue that I perhaps made the right call with that because I didn't want to go down range for 15 months again. I was pushing 30. I was like, I said, my mom, God rest her soul, you guys would have loved her if she was around. She was a psychologist, and she would come and visit us, me. And she's like, this is not healthy.
I'm sure.
She's like, you get up at 4:50 in the morning, you come home at 6 o'clock at night. The only people I see you interact with is the functional alcoholic lady that lives across the hall from you and her son that you play video games with who's 13.
Like, good dude.
Yeah, he was a great dude.
You know what I mean?
He was a great dude. And her husband, who looks exactly like Larry the Cable Guy, and he's so Southern, we can't understand what any of them are saying.
I know the type.
Yeah, great people,
awesome.
but
Salt of the earth.
What made the deployment for you so great? I mean, I loved it personally as well.
Oh my God. It was the mission. It was the people. It was the autonomy.
Yes.
There's something to be said about the autonomy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
You know, when you're judge, jury,
nowhere.
jury, executioner, and the only adult for 50 miles, there is an absolute.
Sorry, that's funny.
well, it's freedom. Man.
It's true though. It's true. Yeah, it's true.
This is facts.
And the buck stopped with me. So every time something bad happened, you know. But the thing is that I was blessed with great for the most part, subordinate leaders. You know, I was fortunate enough when I left active duty. I went and I was an instructor at the Officer Candidate School, and that's where I met Greg LeBeau. Mm-hmm. That's where I met Brutus 17, R.I.P. Brutus 17. If you remember Kyle Bittner, I mean, and I had the opportunity when that. You know, I'd been home for a little bit, and this is also, if you look at the history about in the time frame from when we went down range, that was the surge, the Afghanistan surge.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, you're going to go be a company commander. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. I guess it's my time again. You know, I'm not going to. I did this to myself. Mm-hmm. Clearly, like nobody held a gun to my head and made me join the army. And I was like, do I have any discretion on, you know, who I take with me? And they were like, yeah, you're going to have some latitude. So I got to handpick my first sergeant.
That's good.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, absolutely. I had known Greg LeBeau for a few years at that point. And then they're like, oh yeah, but you have a platoon sergeant vacancy. And I was like, get Bittner on the phone right now.
Wow.
And I was so happy that I got to, that was.
That's pretty awesome that you get to handpick those. Like that's huge.
And also some of the candidates that I trained then were lieutenants and went down range.
Wow.
Paxi.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That guy wrote his name or his battle number, his battle roster number on everything. Had it sewed into his pants.
Bittner or Paxi?
Paxi.
Yeah. Well,
you know what he taught? Like, dude, it was everywhere. It was on the bottom of his shoes, everything. And I said, why do you do that? He goes, well, my wife told me a long time ago, and I think he stole this from somewhere, but whatever. He goes, she told me a long time ago, there are no thieves in the Army. Everybody's just trying to get their shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
I said, your wife said that to you? He goes, yeah.
That's true.
That's what he said.
That's so true.
I was like, all
Definitely
right.
wasn't his wife because they'd only been married about 8 months at that point. But
It was what he told me. He said his wife, whatever.
Yeah. When did you guys roll into that company?
Can I bring that up? I really want to broach that topic because I vividly I don't remember what month it was, but we were getting danger close to getting ready to go to Mob Station.
3 months out, I think.
What was it? So roughly August, September time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was you, Lamoureux, and Capaldi.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot about him.
I remember the day they showed up.
Do you really?
I vividly because
Damn, they're good.
guys walked in with your red berets on, and I was like, oh yeah, this is
instant hard on.
yeah. And I was so excited because here's the thing: is like the way that I look at it. You know, it's a whole volunteer
Yes.
philosophy. Like nobody held a gun to your head and made you go to airborne school. You're like, I'm perfectly willing to go and throw myself out of a perfectly good airplane. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm willing to do. And to me, then you're going to say, and now I want to go with you guys into the unknown. Like it
says a lot.
that's baller.
Yeah, it says a lot. You guys just did the IST, right? Like was that a hard process? Like what?
No, I just left it to readiness. Basically, I was hanging with Lou on drill weekend. He had like a bum knee or ankle or something like that. So like me and him were just kind of like battle buddying, getting some shit done. And then he was like, "Yeah, I want to deploy." And like he said it in a way I didn't know. Like he was just like, because he was just shit talking. Yeah. And because later he told me I didn't think you were gonna do it. He goes, "You think you're gonna go?" I was like, "Let me think about it." And then that day I was like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna go." Yeah. And that was it. Apparently somebody at a mountaineering school, one of the guys in the lures went there, and I think it was probably Sergeant American I think he was talking to, and they were like, "Yeah, we're deploying, so like these are the days if you want to link up." And he passed information to Lou, and then Lou was shit talking to me, and then I was like, "Yeah, I'll fucking go." That's what happened. Yeah.
But you and Lou didn't get along.
No, because Lou's Lou,
funny.
and he's like, "You gotta be alpha, and I'll respect you. We'll get along." And I'm not. I'm more like, I'm a beta. I like. All right, that's a good idea. I'll go do whatever the fuck you want to do. Like I'm very confident.
I wouldn't say beta. I would just submit. You're like a listener. You're not. He's just. He was always like kind of in your face.
Yeah.
Where when the chips were down, but certainly like a beta would have rolled over and been like, I'm not going to participate in this gunfight.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, no, fair enough. So like,
Yeah,
I think so I guess
That reminds me.
So I think alpha. I think of the guys who want to be hard charging, who want to be in the front. I'm not really that guy. But like,
says Mr. Triathlon. He's like,
Except-
no, I don't want to be that guy.
except when somebody needs you to.
right, exactly. And
Yeah.
then
You're gonna-
throughout the deployment, like I had to prove myself, and then that's when Lou started respecting me. You know,
course.
after all the ticks and everything else, and especially getting shot.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it.
And the thing that I noticed about Lou is that he would certainly he talked the talk, but he would also walk the walk too.
Oh, yeah.
Would run it.
Yeah.
I remember the Lurse days, like when he would get fucked up, or he'd see somebody getting fucked up and be like, "I'll be your battle buddy," and he'd start just fucking because like you make the battle buddy, you'd be like, all right, get your fucking ranger buddy or whatever, and you fucking get your ranger buddy, and you'd be like, all right, now do this, fucking, and it'd be like, I'll be your ranger buddy,
Nice.
buddy. Anybody's fucked up,
I'll get scuffed up with you.
Yeah. I will
like
get
it.
scuffed up with you because you
and
can't
then
break
he'd be
me.
like, well, I could do more. Like just
It's just bloody every
oh
drill.
man. Oh, it's terrible. And,
So you-
and the guys that like the sergeants and stuff at the time, I mean, they were fucking them up. Like, I
Oh
remember
yeah,
getting
my first
fucked
real
up.
weekend, I was
Yeah.
throwing up. I was in great shape. I was in amazing shape, and I'm fucking vomiting. I'm just like,
Oh, yeah.
I think I need an aspirin. And they're like, you're a little bitch. I'm like, oh fuck.
Oh man,
Damn.
it was
That's tough,
it was train hard, play
Yeah.
hard. It was definitely like, and it was because it was only 56 dudes.
Yeah.
Because it was like a detachment, a Lurse
They were
detachment.
the
So it
Lurse
was just like
not an airborne infantry.
you were
company.
like I was lucky enough to even get there. Well, I don't even know how the fuck that happened, but.
Is that straight off active duty then? You just happened to
No, I didn't even do active duty. I joined the guard, and the only reason I got into that unit was because I went in as commo. So, and then I literally got back from commo school, and then 2 weeks later I went to infantry school, like because they're like, oh,
Oh, by the
you're
way, you
in,
gotta
but
do
you're
this.
going to infantry now.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then I was like, oh, okay,
So when Stafford was here, did he want a space dock?
yeah, of course,
You guys want to plug in?
yeah. And then right after that, so I was home a week, and then went to airborne school, and that was just like
That's wild.
fucking crazy.
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah, but like get into the Lurse, like it was just like this really tight knit community, and it was pretty wild. Lou was definitely one of those guys you're just like, holy shit, look at this fucking guy.
He
Like,
belongs here.
yeah, and I was just like, I remember seeing him. I'm just like, or like everybody there, and just him just being that fucking animal, and you're just like, oh my god, like what did I get into at
And
this point?
it didn't even look like he was trying.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
like this was completely organic to who he was. He
Yeah.
could not be anything else. It was
Yeah.
like, no, this is for real.
He's like if you're watching, you don't know Lou. He's like the David Goggins of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I am not a bitch.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Everything he did, everything, the way he ate, just fucking everything was just like
Larger
next
than life.
level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Larger than life.
God.
I feel like the Goggins reference is probably very is a good one because I totally see that.
He's definitely that guy who would like, I don't know, self-deprecate in order just to keep pushing, right? Like he would shit on himself so hard to go, nah, this ain't it. This ain't enough. I got to keep going. Like he would just do that, and then he would do that to other people too. And the weaker ones would go, and then the other ones go, I see what you're doing. All right. Like he was just that kind of guy. Like nah, man.
And that's why we clashed. We lived in the same fucking bee hut. And like I would just want to read my book, and he's out there fucking playing Guitar Hero,
Yeah.
and he's fucking like yelling. I'm just like, oh my god. I'm just like, you bring it down to a 5, and he's like, how about you go fuck yourself?
Yeah, see?
Like, that was
Done.
us all year.
I'll bring it down to a 5 when I'm done doing power cleans.
But we got along after the deployment, and then after that, for the next 4 years, we were just like talking nonstop, and like I'm trying to help him through his PTSD and all that.
Is that what it was? Did he have some issues from downrange that really came back? Some demons?
Lou was, I would say, textbook PTSD.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, so I was. He lived in, which is like about an hour away. So for me, that's like driving to Africa. So like I didn't see him like every weekend.
Rhode Island.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
But we
We'll be
talked
going
all
to
the time.
Mars.
Yeah, I'm not. Swiping
Do you
left.
need a
if you live.
passport to go there?
you might. You never know.
I swipe left if you live like an hour away. But I would always try to get Lou involved. And then one night I met up with Valenti. We went to some Halloween party. So like and I pick up Lou, And he shows up at my place. It's like in the afternoon. It's like, I don't know, like 4 in the afternoon. And he's got these fucking Oakley shades on. I'm like, all right, whatever. It's fucking Lou. Like, I'm not thinking about it. We drive there. The sun goes down. He's still wearing the shades. I'm like, and then like he gets in a bad place. I don't know what happened. And then he's like, oh man, I'm fucking out for you. I'm fucking out for you. He's like, there's, there's chicks everywhere. He's like, I'm going to leave. I'm like, no, bro. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, chill, relax.
I'm here to hang out with you.
Yeah. But like, he's intoxicated. And then like his glasses fall off. This is probably like 10 p.m. And I can see his eyes and they're fucking cockeyed. Like, I didn't know this could happen. He hadn't been sleeping for so long. One of his eyes is just like inwards and he's completely cockeyed. And it's just like, and then like, he's like, go to the party. I'm like, no, man, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, he's like, but like, I could tell, like, he's getting more frustrated, more worse. I'm like, all right, fine, cool, man. I'll go to the party. But like, he runs outside and he says like, I'm just gonna get a friend. And I'm hiding in the bushes because like, I want to make sure he's safe. And then about an hour later, a big black SUV pulls up and it's his mom. I'm like, fuck, like, God bless her heart, like.
Yeah.
And just like, he was just.
I never met his mom, but he always spoke very highly of her.
Yeah.
She's a saint.
Is she?
Yeah.
So what was the deal? He just lost his mind and was like, Ma, come get me?
I don't know the whole conversation. I mean, I sure was something like that. But yeah, Lou was.
Well, I think he was going through so much stuff and like, it was too hard for him being that alpha to actually deal with it. Like he was just like, I can work through this. Yeah. That's kind of what the big thing was.
Being like coming home, he's like, I'm not awesome anymore. Like I don't get to blow shit up every day. And
oh yeah, 100%, right?
Maybe, so. But I think when they say PTSD and something mentally has snapped and it's broken or whatever, he just couldn't turn off an off switch, which I just like because he went to all these like things like Stone's Ranch and like or I can't remember Stone's Ranch. So they did the horses, and then he went to Florida for a while. He got a little bit better. He had a girlfriend, but like he could never turn it off, and it didn't help that he would use alcohol to help mitigate.
Alcohol was the problem.
Pain.
Yeah. Well, this is the story I was talking to you about, Lou, right? So I know they go deploy. Like then, like I kind of kept in touch. Like Terry, we kind of talked every once in a while when they got back and everything. And then, very rarely. Like I think up to like the last couple of years when we actually started talking a little bit more. But so funny. So after I get back from my 2012 deployment, I get arrested for DUI. Okay. So I get arrested for DUI. Fucking go to the Veterans Court. The whole thing. So I go to the Veterans Court, I get like, hey, you got to go to this therapy, this like just, PTSD thing or whatever it is. Fucking Lou's there. And I'm just like, so it's a group talk and nice. Lou is there and he's like, fucking lap. I'm like, holy shit. And I was like, holy shit, it's fucking Lou. Cause I'm like, I remember Lou, but like,
you don't want to see anybody.
Like, good to see you.
But I didn't want it. Yeah. And then, so, and I'm using this time. I'm like, thank God I got arrested because I was down a deep, dark roll. Really? Like it was like probably the best thing that could have happened to me. But so we're going through this therapy and then like he's like, oh, well, after this, let's go get something to eat. And I was like, oh, fuck, I can't, I'm like, I can't do this shit, whatever. And he's like, no, come on, let's go. And we fucking go to some fucking bar down the street. And like at this time, like I'm not drinking. I'm like, cause that shit, like it was like bad, right? So I have like a beer that I'm not even drinking just to like sit there. And he's like Long Island. Yeah. And like then he's like, oh, another one. And then another one. Let me get me some shots. And he's yelling at this bar and it's like I want to say it was like probably like 5 or like 4 o'clock. So like that's he's funny. Just yelling. He's just like funny. like it's 10 p.m. Yeah. It's just like, get me another shot. And he's like talking to this lady. Now I'm like, oh fuck, now I got to talk to them and talk them down or whatever. And I'm like, hey dude, like I gotta head out of here. But like what's like are you
what's your
good?
Game plan?
Like what's like what like I can give you a ride, whatever. He's like, oh, I live. I'm like, damn. Oh, all right. Well, he's like, no, my mom's coming to get me. And I'm like, okay. So like I hang out with him for a while, and then like his mom comes up and we chat and stuff. And this is the first time I've met his mom, and Yeah, and he gets in the car and goes home, and I'm just like, fuck. Like, and I was just like, holy shit, what the fuck is going on? And then obviously then we have all these other, therapy sessions, and like he's like, oh yeah, let's go. And I'm like, I can't, dude. Like, I can't like go out do the thing.
Can I ask, what did he talk about during the therapy sessions?
He that's the problem. I think that was his kind of downfall, is he never let go of being that alpha. Like, he was like talking about Afghanistan the way, like, I mean, like he never brought it to an emotional level. It was like, this shit was fucking, like, we did this, we did that, we did this. And it was like, and I think he just never could get that high back. And that was kind of his downfall. Like, unfortunately, like.
So you don't think it was from repeated exposures to horrific combat atrocities? It was the fact that he got this high, and we're never going to do that again.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, like, I don't think that the stuff phased him. I think what phased him was that the firefight was like what he lived for. Like, he was like, this shit was fucking,
That's a very good characterization as someone who has seen him in a gunfight multiple times. I would submit to you that is a very accurate.
Yeah.
And especially like being in a gunfight after being horrifically exhausted, walking up a mountain and then somebody's about to fall out, and he's, his, I don't think he was being a dick, but he was kind of just like, I got you. Let me take your shit.
Yeah.
That's just the kind of guy he was. And I don't think he was trying to be an asshole or be a dick or anything.
No, absolutely not.
I just think
he get through.
He just was that good of an American. Like, he's like, I believe in what we're doing, and I'm going to, that's how this is going down.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think anybody could have tapped into that. Like, it was like he was down a road that was, like, and like the conversations we had too were, about like how the LURS was, and like how, like, and it didn't, relate emotionally to anything that we were facing or what it was, coming back from deployment, all this stuff. And he was very like, oh yeah, we did this, the Death Star, fucking all this stuff that we were talking about, like, which, and obviously that's a good thing to talk about, but it was never to a level where it was broken down. Like, I've never seen him, I guess, weak. Let's put it that way.
So you think it was like his PTSD stemmed more from like missing the combat?
I think so.
Versus
Is that
actual
PTSD
trauma?
though, or is
I don't
that
know
just,
if that's
PTSD?
PTSD.
Just
I think
feeling
that's just
inadequate about something.
Yeah.
And don't forget, like, there's a, like, in that moment, there's a large sense of vulnerability, right? Which is totally opposed to who he was as an individual.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Vulnerability was never a thing. It was never a word in his vocabulary. So I think I told you before we came on, Lou called me like a couple months before he died. All right. This is like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Don't hold me to it. Anyhow, he's lit, right? He's lit, and I don't mean in a good way. Like, he fired up, liquored up, intoxicated, somewhere. Anyhow, and he's kind of like, really rambling, but saying exactly what you're saying. Oh, Diz, we ain't doing that shit. Like, like, that shit was this, that shit was that, and I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do now. And in that moment, only through his intoxications where I discovered his vulnerability.
Yeah,
that's the first time I ever seen it, right? And we didn't have like an extensive amount of contact, but it definitely wasn't, it was definitely enough to get a sense of who he was, right? And who, his direction. And so to see that, honestly, especially looking back, it was a bit jarring, right? But I was like, nah, man, like, I've seen this before. Like, we good. Like, everybody transitions, right? Everybody's got a drunk friend who calls them at, 1, 2 in the morning, talking some shit, right? But usually they're telling you how they feel, right?
Yeah.
And then we push through it in the next few months, year, or whatever, and, whatever. I'm ashamed to say that I kind of shrugged it off, right? I was like, Lou, you be all right, man. Drink water and go to fuck to sleep. Like, this shit ain't nothing.
Yeah.
Like, we just got to find a new transition. That's it, right? Hang up. My wife rolls over and she goes, he going through some shit, right? He hurting, right?
That's some sit right there.
Yeah, but that's what she said, right? Not a whole lot of talk about it. She was like, you're going through some shit. And I was like, yeah, I mean, we all are in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
I think he'll be, because in my mind also, he's one of the strongest people you know what I mean?
Yeah. He's going to be good. Yeah.
We all got to go through it, but he'll be good. That shit did not happen that way. Didn't happen that way. So I remember getting a phone call, and Sergeant American actually was the one who called me. He goes, "Hey, can you get in touch with anybody out there in Rhode Island?" I'm like, "I don't know anybody." Like, he goes, "Like, I already tried." He goes, "But maybe, you tell them you're on the job, they're on a job." So I called them up, and they were like, "Yeah." Like, they wouldn't release the name, but I said the name, and he goes, "We got somebody close to that, I'll tell you that there was an incident and something like that is going on." And that was, obviously Cove speak for, yeah, it's him, bud.
Yeah.
So it was, that was another moment that was like, oh, shit, another failure for me, right? Like, maybe I could have said something. Maybe I could have, I don't know, driven out here. Yeah. Maybe that one day, right, just to meet him halfway.
Yeah.
I always liked his Mustang. I always loved that.
Oh shit, I forgot about it. Yeah,
Love that thing.
over the top of everything.
It was so loud.
Batmobile.
So ridiculous. I remember when he first pulled in I remember my first time seeing it when he pulled into the damn armory at Manchester. And I was like, that thing is so fucking obnoxious.
Put a Cobra engine in a fucking Mustang.
But it was so badass though. Yeah. I was like, oh man, this guy's that's awesome.
It's like to the fullest.
Yeah.
Always to the fullest.
Yeah.
Yeah. No stop.
Hey man, I don't know if you're still struggling with those feelings, but like, don't beat yourself up too much because
No.
okay,
no,
cool.
no,
'Cause
yeah.
I did that whole thing too. Because like at one point I needed a roommate, and he saw that on social media.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to be a roommate, and then like for a while I just beat myself up. But it's like, they change has to start from the inside.
Yep.
Even if he lived with me, I don't think, who's to say where life could have gone? Like I can't.
Nah.
Yeah.
And that's a grown man.
Yeah.
And he had a good enough head on his shoulders to know which direction, the problem is, when you're in the grips of addiction or mental illness, whatever, it's hard to discern which way is left, which way is right, up or down. And externally, we can't really impact that, right? Like, I don't have the training. I don't have the emotional intelligence. I'll say that. I don't have the emotional intelligence for that, right? All I can do is be a supportive figure.
Yeah.
At the greatest.
Yeah. So he found his calling at war.
Yes.
Like that
Yeah.
was so he found his calling. That was his calling. If he would have stayed essentially on the mountaintops, that like he'd still be kicking it to this day. Like
happy as dog shit. Yeah.
He's just like he was just built. He was built a different way, and unfortunately, I think he was like born at a wrong time, like the Roman legionnaire or something like he would have excelled. Like I'm sure those guys have PTSD, but you know what? They just go fight again.
Yeah,
it's like and done.
Could have fight, fucking drink. Yeah,
something.
Yeah, there you go. Peloponnesian. I haven't heard that one in a while.
Maybe he just needed to find something else other than war. That's maybe
an outlet.
for a
Yeah, an outlet.
situation. Yeah.
You know what scares me though?
The problem was his outlet was drinking. Like so, like if he had something out, I know it, because we use it like working out for me, working out for you. Like it's kind of like therapy.
I mean, I did it too. I went 9 years drinking nonstop every night.
Yep.
I just have also the other half of me loves being healthy. So
yeah,
that's
a blessing.
Some people let things win. That's what it is.
Frozen eels upstairs. I thought he said frozen eels.
I ordered frozen meals.
Frozen meals.
Yeah, because I'm just too lazy to make lunches. But can I ask then, have any of you feel like you dealt with PTSD on a certain level?
No.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I don't either. Mike?
So nothing like combat related, right? Like again, I think I alluded to this earlier. It's never been the what people would say are traumatic incidents, right? Like the gunfights or seeing people with their face shot off or their heads split open. Yeah,
like you had to carry that dead body, didn't you? And then the leg fell off or some shit.
No. I want to get into that.
Oh, we'll tell that story later. We all. I heard about it later. We all heard about it.
Shit story.
Sorry, we'll get into
I don't
that.
like this story.
I like it. I love that story. That's one of my favorite ones.
That was I felt, I was hallucinating that. All right, whatever. Sorry.
I have that on my list of things to discuss today, too, because that's my first combat memory of Terry Rajanbath and Lou Capaldi.
I was hallucinating because we spent all fucking day patrolling. Just like it was raining too, just hopping. It was one of those days I remember patrolling and the rain is hitting me, and like you just think of fucked up thoughts. And I was like, if I hurl myself off the side of this mountain, I could just get airlifted out and never have to patrol again. Like, you know, just one of those thoughts. Like you don't like that's not. It's kind of like you're holding a bat. You're like, what if I smash this person with a bat? You don't, you know. But like it was one of those days. And then I remember we get back to the wire, and then like I finally get back to my bed. It's like 2100. And then we start getting shot at. I'm like, oh, fuck.
This asshole commander's like, everybody up, let's go.
No, it was great. But like, so we're returning fire. And then I just remember by like, it's like my team was specifically holding security to the 6. And I just remember like I'm falling asleep when I fucking saw. And I'm just fucking seeing like mysterious Taliban pop up in the shadows of the dark. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And that was an intense night. But then the next day, everyone was talking about how like you like ripped off some guy's leg or something like that.
We got to go into it now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it now.
We there.
Now.
You guys patrolled all day. Yes, 100%. And remember, nothing ruins a good war story like an eyewitness. Right? You guys patrolled all day. It pissed down rain on you. Yeah, it's fucking life, man. Like this is a life you chose. All right? Everybody's bedded down. We're all about to, do our thing. And then I don't remember who it was, but it's like, hey, I got some movement on the raid camera. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, all right, yeah, hey, go get me 6 Romeo. And you were up there playing cards or doing whatever. That's another story we got to come to after this. But
sure. Shaking dice.
But, yeah. Come down, and we can see on our raid camera. And I'm like, it looks like those fucking dudes are placing an IED right by the Gonapal Bridge. And we're like, yeah, that's definitely what's happening. Mm-hmm. Zoom in. Oh yeah. We could see like the dudes like moving the shit around. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do? And I happened to look over at the Blue Force tracker, and I saw those 2
Apaches.
I was like, those Apaches right there. Yep. Get them on. Get them right now. And I hear like, hey, whatever it was Angry 6-4, Brutus 6 Romeo at this location. Hey, what's your current status? And he comes back with his 9 line, blah, 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 blah. Alpha Tango awaiting tasking. I'm like, we need him. We need him right now. And I'm like, okay, yeah, Roger, we'll switch over from CAGNet to you. Comes on our company net. And I was like, hey, listen, I'm going to walk you in on where these dudes are.
He made that switch. He said, no, I'm going to talk to them, because he jumped on there. He's like, no, I got some shit. I got a big stick. I want to swat these flies. Yeah. So that's what happened. It wasn't like there was like some peaceful transition of power here, right? Where I was talking to these people and trying to, relay his intent.
I may or may not have pushed him out of the way.
Yeah, straight up. He's like, no, give me that. Hey, meet me over here. Boom. And then they just start talking. So go ahead.
I still feel bad about that, by the way.
Continue,
because
please.
you were like, what? You just pushed me, sir.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
I was gonna call an error on this fucking bridge, and you wanted to do it.
He was like, no.
This is in April. Talk. This is good. Was it Good Friday? It was before Easter. I want to say it was during Holy Week of 2010.
Okay.
We didn't have our JTAX yet.
Nope, we didn't.
So anyway, talking to these dudes, I'm like, all right, listen. So when you guys get on station, stay far away. And I was like telling him which equipment to use. I'm an asshole. What do you want me to say? I was like,
I told you.
And he looks down like, yeah, I see what you're seeing. I was like, yeah, Roger, you're cleared hot. Mike, Charlie, go ahead, engage with whatever you want. And the guy's like, okay. And he did like 4 or 5 gun runs, and we're watching I have the video of the rounds splashing in, and like awesome. These dudes just like going into pink mist, and everybody in the CP is like, oh, I'm like,
this is where
we got to go get him.
Yeah,
we got to go get him. Yeah. Get your shit on.
Like, what?
Yeah. I was like, go get 3rd Platoon right now. So what do? 3rd Platoon, Americans, like, and you could tell he was a little like, and oh, by the way, he had a platoon leader who looked exactly like Hakimullah Masood, which you don't get a Christmas card from him, do you, by the way? No. I was kidding. I don't either. He did look exactly like Hakimullah Masood.
He's working at the local veterinarian shelter now.
Are you serious? Anyway, we roll up 3rd Platoon. I was like, and get me all the ash and trash too, because we're going to need as many people on this objective as possible. So like, we got cooks, we got mechanics, and I was like, all right, let's go. We're rolling. We roll outside the wire. By roll, I mean we walked. Yes. We didn't drive anywhere.
I was like, roll.
And I got 7 on the radio. I'm like, all right, 7, because we also, if you recall from a raid camera, it's also got IR directional finding.
Yep.
So and we've got this thing spotlighted. I'm like, oh, I know exactly where the fuck we're going. Or we're gonna start walking, and all of a sudden I start seeing all these IR strobes disappearing, left and right, left and right. And you remember, Terry, that's the day we found out that whole field was terraced. Everybody was falling off the terraces. We were all online. Everybody was like falling.
Terrorist. You remember how like
They were different
had
levels,
Yeah.
and we didn't know that.
It's like steps.
I wasn't there for that portion. I was all the way in the rear covering the 6.
Were you?
So you didn't,
I didn't have that
okay.
problem.
Well,
Yeah.
So you missed that.
Yeah.
I do remember going through the release point,
So like people were literally just falling down.
falling
Yes.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like
So
fall,
IR.
fall.
Well, I could imagine only because when we were trying to set a position, it was just like I had to drop into this dark hole. Even though I got my nods on, there's no fucking loom, so I can't see shit. And Metrology's like, "Get the fuck down there!" I'm like, I got this like all its equipment is sawed. Like I'm not gonna die.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna try to get down there if I pissing off my squad leader.
Yeah. It was
I didn't
all
realize
terrorist.
you stayed at the release point when we walked through there, but because I remember walking through and I saw like a body and I touched you and I was like, "Who's this?"
It was so dark.
Yeah, it was so fucking dark. I remember reaching out. I was like, "Who's this?" And all I hear is Terry. I'm like, "Who the fuck is Terry?"
I don't think I would have said Terry, sir.
You did. You definitely said
did I?
Terry because you didn't know who I was.
Okay.
I was
Dude,
like,
that's
Terry.
what you called yourself. I don't know if you know that.
Well, everybody called me
called you
Terry.
Terry.
Everybody
Right.
called me
Right,
Terry.
you're the
Terry.
one. You're the one
Yeah.
who was like, "That's Rajanbath." I'm like, "Oh, all right."
Even
Terry.
in Rhode
that?
Island,
Yeah.
the tag calls me Terry. Like,
Yeah.
that's just how it goes.
You don't have a last name, bud. I mean, kind of, but yeah, but not really. You're like
Okay.
Prince.
All right, apologies,
Can
sir.
I just throw that out there
Terry.
about your last name? That remember when we landed in where did we not Gandor? Where was the day we spent overnight in the hotel?
Oh God. Oh yeah, yeah.
Where was the hotel before we were on our way overseas? And
in Ireland?
no, before we got to
Maine,
Ireland.
Maine.
In Maine.
Oh, that was a good time.
Maine, Bangor.
Bangor. And we were getting the room assignments, and old Dirty Bop comes up.
Old Dirty Bob. You
Old
remember
Dirty-
that guy? Oh God.
Oh, yeah, he died.
Yeah, Kenneth Bop. All right.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
He's been dead
Well, he
for a
was
while.
old, right?
He died shortly after the deployment. He was old. He was so old. Fucking the army called him up. Oh, I felt bad.
Yeah, he earned that nickname of Old Dirty Bop.
Yeah, he did.
And then you guys started calling. Then he got hurt, and you guys called him Old Disabled Bop. And I remember, you got this deep voice like that.
Yeah,
'Cause I'm
he
from the
always
hills of
moving
West Virginia, and everybody talk like this.
Yeah. Oh man, he was a good dude though.
And they were like, "All right, get your roommates together, go check into the hotel." Like, "Oh, yeah, I'm Old Dirty Bop. I'm staying with Rajanbath." And they're like, "Can you spell that?" He's like, "No, I can't spell that. There's like an R and a something. And I think there's a 3 in there."
That is true. That's
People want to get extra on my last name. They had Z's and numbers at
Yeah.
the end.
Yeah.
I think there's a 3 in there.
Yeah, that was what he said.
He was like in the 82nd and the 90s. Like, he was
Yeah.
so
He was-
old.
smoking weed, jumping out of airplanes.
Yeah.
Dirty Bop. Yeah, how you
Yeah.
guys doing? Yeah, I'm Old Dirty Bop. Anyway,
Yeah.
That was like Smash. Smash was fucking. He used to tell stories about jumping in the 82nd on shrooms.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, like he was. Remember, he was like 80s, 90s.
I don't remember.
Sergeant Major. Well, you used to call him Smash, but he wasn't a sergeant major. He was like
he
an
may
E6
have been at one point, but
Yeah.
anyway, so I remember seeing you at the release point. Like, that's Rajanbath. I'm like, all right, fine. So we're walking. We all get online because we're trying to go find these dudes. And as I said, everybody's like ass over tea kettle. That I didn't know that until I went ass over tea kettle, and then you went ass over tea kettle because my RTO is right next to me. I'm like, fuck, that sucked. And we get up and we keep walking. We fall a couple more times, and we're trying to walk towards this godlight.
I ripped my pants. That's what happened.
I remember that,
On one
yeah.
night. Oh God. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sounded like a good night.
Big
This
black
is-
snake out in the,
Just I had no draws. Just out there.
Yeah,
It happened.
It
That
happens
was-
to the best of us.
that was a problem with the frac use.
Yeah.
Remember
Yeah,
ripped-
yeah.
the crotches blew out.
yeah.
Anyway, so I'm like, hey, 7, this is 6. Like, can you tell us if we're getting close? And this is one of the few times I got extremely frustrated and annoyed with Brutus 7. Love the man to death, but he's like, yeah, 6, this is 7, break. Yeah, tell that guy to look left. I'm like, there are 18 million of us online. Which fucking person do you mean? He's like, yeah, break.
Yeah. Yeah.
6, this is 7. You guys are break. I'm like, oh god,
Yep. Yeah. I
fucking
do.
kill somebody.
It's coming back. It's coming back slowly. I do remember you losing your fucking mind.
Anyway, we found out later that I don't know if you know this, but those godlights that are on the Viper systems, Every time
calibrated.
they have to be calibrated. Yeah, and our supply sergeant, great American, trying to do the right thing. I want to inventory all the equipment, brought it all down, took it out, took the batteries out, looked at the serial number, confirmed it, put it back up. It was no longer calibrated. So the God light was pointed this way.
Yep.
The target is this way.
Yep.
And we're just walking and like falling all over the place.
It was bad.
Oh man.
And
It was bad.
poor Seven is trying to tell us, yeah, you guys need to go to your break.
Yeah.
I can see it in my head.
Left. Anyway, we finally make
He
it
was
there.
so pissed.
Oh,
We
man.
finally make it there after just like falling constantly. Like everybody's all beat up. His dick's hanging out. Like it's weird. We're covered in like shit and like whatever else
yeah.
was in those
Yeah.
fields,
Yeah.
like water.
It's nastiness.
Yeah.
And we find this dude like rolled up like this next to a tree. Yeah. It's the first time it happened. It happened another time. Somebody, I don't remember who it was. It was somebody from your platoon who was really, really young. Is like, you think that's him? That would be some fucking coincidence, wouldn't it?
That's funny.
And I lost it. Like I was so pissed off, and I feel really bad for yelling at this poor private.
No, tag that person. Who was it? If you're watching, tag that
I don't
person.
remember who it was
know.
because I
God.
couldn't see. It was so dark. And he was like, well, sir, there were two of them. I was like, yeah, I fucking know there were two of them. There's one now. What do you want me to do? So I was like, all right, let's go. Tell the Afghans to get him. And if you recall, well, you don't recall, but if you recall, the Afghans went over and they're like,
I forgot we always had the ANA with us.
Oh,
yeah. And I can see the sun is starting to come up. And this is not a place we want to be. Is in the middle of an open field when the sun comes
that's
up.
always good.
Especially after we just smoked these dudes.
In the valley. Just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good.
So finally I'm like, Mike, fucking grab this dude.
Yeah. It's still in the back of the truck.
Born. Out of nowhere. All right, let's go. This is fucking bullshit. So me,
Jesus.
you, Born. Who was the fourth person? I don't remember. There was a fourth person. I'm like, just grab him. Mike grabs the guy's leg and it snaps off.
You can hear the crepidus, right?
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
Snaps off. It's hanging just by tendons at this point. And he goes over, he's like,
I did not hear this part.
Yeah, dude. It was wrong.
well, and it's a person. So like he weighed something. He's like, a small Afghan, but he's like 150 pounds. As soon as like half, 25% of that, so it falls out of our hands and it drops, right?
Jesus Christ.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, let's go. Let's get out of this field. Yeah. And Bourne, love that man to death too. He's like, stop being a pussy.
Yeah.
He's like, whatever, fine. So you grab him by the waist, right? And I'm like, you know what? Fuck you. You take the top half. I'll take the bottom half. So now I got this dude like under his thigh, like around like this. Mike got the top of his body.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a nasty dead arm. Oh,
So
God.
so we start walking. He's got him like underneath the guy's shoulder, and we're walking. All of a sudden, we run into another terrace. Off the terrace we go. Complete weekend at Bernie's
with
moment.
the dude, everything.
Right? And I'm like, all right, guys, we got to get the fuck out of this field. Like, fuck. And then you're probably sitting there like, what are they doing?
Oh, I was trying to stay awake.
Why are they taking so long? All they have to do is go get 2 dead bodies and walk out of a field.
At this point, it's probably 6 a.m.
Yeah, the sun's coming up. And I'm like, Mike, grab this guy. Come on, let's go. And I look, and he's throwing up again. And I'm like, Mike, stop being a pussy.
understand.
Grab this guy's arm. And he goes, leave me the fuck alone. It's got punched in the dick by a dead guy. When he fell, guy's arm went right up in his crotch. Got both the Franks and the beans. Like with his dirty Afghan dead hand.
With your pants cut open.
Yeah.
With
Like
It was
skin
raw.
to skin
It was
contact.
raw. It was raw. Yeah.
And he's over there throwing up again.
And he just couldn't comprehend
I was so angry.
that I had a moment.
You got fucking,
No,
you
I
got
did,
fucking
I did. I
nutmegged
was
by
like,
a dead body.
He
Bullshit, Mike, because I said to you, what did I say to
I
you?
was trying to walk through the shit and you were talking to me. You're not supposed to talk to me when I'm working through shit.
But
Like,
but
I
when
had
that
to
when that
work through
happened, when you were done throwing up the second time, what did I say?
it. We
He's
tried the
like, this is
mic. We tried the mic.
bullshit.
Yeah.
No, I was like,
Collect a dead body.
Yeah.
I was like, do you need a moment?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah, I did say that.
Yeah, that is
What
true.
did the body look like? Because it got hit by 30 mics, right?
It did, yeah.
Yeah.
So what does it look like? Is it ground beef? With
There were big holes in his chest. and,
yeah.
like, as I said, one hit his leg, and his leg like clearly shattered his tibia. So when Mike grabbed the leg to pick it up, it just snapped.
Like a wooden,
Yeah, it's
wooden twigs.
It sounded like
That's how
you
it felt.
broke a big stick.
Yeah.
Like, I remember the sound. Yeah, under my headset. Yeah, it was. I was like,
Do you remember the feeling?
I do.
You remember it?
I do. A lot of it.
which
I'll
feeling?
never forget it.
When his leg snapped? Or
No,
his,
no,
the
not
skin to
that
skin
one.
When he
feeling?
fondled your
No,
man?
not that one. No.
you got groped by that guy.
I'm really good at like.
You got
yeah.
groped by a dead dude.
You did.
I won't lie to you
The guy
guys.
kind of punched him in the dick too. I mean,
I don't remember a lot of this stuff because
remember that, though.
I wipe a lot of shit clean. Like I don't even.
Really?
I remember being in the field. I remember getting fucking hit. I couldn't recall a lot of the details of this stuff because the way my mind works, it's like if it's like I don't know, I guess traumatic like that, I wipe that shit. I wipe that shit instantly.
Really?
Well, now you
So-
can remember it for the rest
But
of your life.
that's the problem, though, right? So like,
You're welcome.
Yeah, in 4K.
You're welcome.
because here's what happened, right? Because we've had this conversation before, right? So I remember the story, but I wipe it. I wipe it again. So if you ask me a week from now, I can't tell you the story.
Well, now you can watch it.
Boom.
yeah. Thank God. There's
But I
a Lou
always
nexus
relive it.
to this story, by the way. There's a very good Lou nexus.
Can I pause this for a second? I really got to take a piss.
All right, go ahead.
We
Can I
pause
join you?
everything.
Because I got to pee too.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
not in that way.
We
but,
can always
you know.
do pauses.
Okay. I don't remember the last one. So
Yeah.
These are good. Thank you for the.
My pleasure. Yeah. That's why I was 7 minutes late, is because I was like, oh, if I'm coming up there, where am I going to get a Zeppeli? I have a green book of one-liners that I kept from all of my time down range. There are quite a few that were from.
Luke Capaldi.
No, there's a lot. There's the obviously getting punched in the dick by a dead guy is one of them that's on there. 'cause
That always sucks.
That's so good.
I didn't make that up. Like, you legitimately said that.
Yeah.
That is funny.
You legit-
That is fucking hysterical.
I don't recall a lot of that.
There's no way you don't. Well, I mean, you know, I shouldn't say there's no way. But yes, that was as I said, nothing ruins a good war story like an eyewitness.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll tell you. His brajol was blowing in the wind.
And that Afghan arm.
That this dead Afghan
just
arm,
ready.
just right up in
Ready
it,
for
like,
it.
right. I mean, you're lucky he didn't, like, you know, the rigor mortis hadn't set in. He had one finger up and, like, you know,
right?
checked your oil.
Yeah, that
That would have been a way better story.
You're like in a special club. That's very, very few
Yeah.
people in this club.
I don't think it's probably very, very, very hard to get in that club.
So when you tell your kids about that,
They never will.
I
I
can't
don't even
wait.
want to tell you guys about it.
Well, you didn't. I did. And if you recall my promotion ceremony, I also made sure to tell my
Yes,
senior
you did.
raider that, because he's
Yes.
also a LaPierre, by the way. He's a one star. And I was like, well, let's see just how cool this guy is. I was like, sir, would you like to hear a really fucked up story from downrange?
Yeah, he
And
was
I
good
could-
with it. He was good with it.
I could tell he was borderline mortified, but
with it.
his wife thought it was hilarious.
Yeah,
so.
he was good with it. He was like, all right.
I gotta say, sir, as well. Like when I would get with Lou and Lambro, we always appreciated you giving us the freedom, like the way we conducted those patrols. Like we went out there looking like soft guys. We had like our t-shirts on, like we were comfortable. It was just about getting the job done, and we really appreciated that.
Well,
It meant a lot.
good. I'm glad. I took a lot of shit over it, but you know what? It was worth it.
I do remember that. You getting a lot of shit over that.
Like what's wrong with there being comfortable?
Yeah.
You probably don't recall this, but after you had thrown up the second time because the guy punched you in the nuts, and we had, you know, fallen down. I don't think we fell down anymore after that. Like we were very. It was a complete weekend at Bernie's moment.
Yeah,
though. Like the
yeah.
guy was like laying on
God.
top of me. It was horrible. It was horrible. We get back and we finally make it to the road. All right, and then who's pulling security on the road with his 240? Lou Capaldi.
Yeah.
And sees us dragging this like most of like this dude. He looks over. I don't know who he said it to. It might have been to CPL.
I don't know. Corporal Jones?
Yeah. He goes, I don't think that guy's gonna make it.
Oh god, I heard that in his voice too.
Yeah, that was such a Lou Capaldi moment. I was like, damn. And I didn't want to laugh, but in my head I was like, oh, that was
good. Yeah,
that was impeccable timing. Whoever that was.
Yeah. Walked into that.
Who
one.
the fuck was that? Oh, Capaldi. Yeah, what do you expect?
Makes sense.
Fucking jokester. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh God, that's funny.
I don't think he's gonna make it.
Did he do his eyebrows?
No.
No, they just grew in that way.
They were aggressive.
He was aggressive.
The man had such aggressive eyebrows. I just thought about that.
It's too much testosterone.
Yeah, like the wise owl. You know.
Just always brooding.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
There
Yes,
you go.
yes. Oh my God, that was perfect. I feel like he's here right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and let me tell you too, like it was different when I would interact with him, obviously, because I was an authority figure, and I wasn't trying to be anybody's friend. Like I couldn't be friends with you guys.
Yeah.
However, it was like I'd want to interact too. Do you remember the day we got that giant, like the first time we got a care package? It was like we'd been there probably like 5 months, and like, oh, all the mail that you guys have wanted
Finally came.
Do you remember everybody bitching about mail?
Yeah, I do. People.
Yeah, because we didn't get mail. There was no way to get it to us. It's simple as it is. Like, there's no way to get mail to you.
Do you know where Najil was in comparison
It's
to
like, so if you're at Meadowlawn, you go up to the
Alice Shang?
Shang, yeah, not Alan
side.
Gar, yeah.
Yeah. Because I always get confused about which one was
Yep,
which way.
that was it.
But
Yeah, there was no way to get mail to us. It was a problem.
Yeah, we went up there once.
Okay.
That was it.
Guys were bitching about it, and you know.
Well, that's because the goddamn Canadians, the Molson Air. See, so bits and pieces are coming back to me.
Molson Air.
They were pissed off because they kept getting shot at every time they would try to land at our shit, and so they were like, "All right, we're not coming anymore." They just
well, they
canceled.
could. It wasn't that they said "fuck you, we're not coming."
Yeah,
No,
I can
they
see
said
that.
"fuck you, we're not coming." I'm like, okay, there's a war going on. You might get shot at. Like,
Do you remember the one time we had an issue with that? I don't remember what the village was, but we went looking for some schmuck that was over there. And we went to go search his house, and his dad let us like search. He's like, "Yeah, I want my kid out of here." I don't remember who was the.
he didn't like his kid.
No, it was the guy that Garry Kelly shot in the face and killed. Yes,
Fuck that guy.
Yes, we went to.
Fuck Garry
house.
Kelly for that. Every time I see Gary Kelly, I
That's
tell him,
actually a
"Fuck you,
solid
Gary."
story. That's
you,
probably
Garry
a good
Kelly.
story for
Well,
right
okay,
now.
so
Do you remember Garry Kelly?
Of course.
Nicest guy in the world, greatest
yeah.
guy.
Anyway,
Fuck Gary Kelly.
we know that this guy is a bad person, right? And so I also made
Still pissed about
again.
this.
I worked him like a Hebrew slave when he worked for me. I was a very demanding commander. I'm sorry, Mike, you had to deal with that. I feel like it made you a stronger American. You're welcome. I also made him our company intel support liaison. So that's what he had to do. So he spent a significant portion of his time, in addition to all the other tasks that I gave him, working with the JTACs, et cetera, planning targets, working on getting, and there was a very deliberate process to make sure that somebody got onto the bad guy list, otherwise known as the JPEL.
What now? I can't remember the name of the acronym.
Joint
Joint.
Prioritized Effects List,
Yes,
which means
there
that
you
we
go.
can blow them up, we can detain them, whatever. But there's also, you have to go through a committee called the JFEC, the Joint Fires Something Else Something Committee.
Yep.
JFEC. So Mike doing his good things, making target packets, sharing all this information, and
The hours of research,
Yep,
the hours
yeah.
of making all these PowerPoints and all these.
so fast forward one night, 2nd Platoon, 2-6 on their way up. Like, yeah, hey, we're in a tick. I'm like, all right, fine. Get everybody up. Get everybody spun up. Let's go. Let's get ready to do this. They do their thing. They eventually make it up to Najil. And like,
Just outside.
make it inside to into the cop. I'm like, yeah, hey, we had to smoke this dude, and we brought him up here. And I'm like, all right, let me check it out. I go down there. I look at him. I'm like, oh, shit. and I said to Brutus 5, I was like, go get 6 Romeo.
Yeah, I saw photos.
They thought it was. I was
So they go get 6 Romeo.
So all the work you put in was just
And
like
he
you got
was
shot in
he
the
was
face.
asleep. He was asleep. To his credit, he was doing his thing. He comes down. He's like, oh, "What?" I was like, "Mike, I got really really good news, and I got really really bad news. I'm gonna start with the good news. The good news is that all your hard work has finally paid off. And is recognized throughout all of Afghanistan as a bad guy, and he is numbered like 72 on the JPEL, the Joint Prioritized Effects. He's like, really? Really? That's great.
I got it. I got it done.
I got it done. He's like,
Yeah.
sir, I got it done. I told you I get it done. I got it done.
Yep.
I can see him young.
Yeah. Full of Pennsylvania.
And then
I
he
got
goes,
it done.
And he goes, well, what's the bad news? And I was like, and then Brutus 5, Joe LaRoe just chimes in. He goes, Garry Kelly just shot him in the face and he's dead.
Boom. Good job, Kelly.
Sorry for your loss.
Straight up.
Sorry.
Yeah. I was like,
And he goes right back to what he's doing. He's like, you fucking kidding me, right? Y'all fucking kidding me, right? Like he got really ghetto. It was one of the few times. There were probably 4 or 5 times.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll get into it later.
I got out of pocket.
He goes,
Yeah.
y'all gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
And then somebody's like, you want to go see him? He's like, yeah, I want to see this motherfucker. Goes out there, and sure enough, there he is, balled up on a poncho. I was like, man, fuck y'all.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Garry Kelly.
Yeah, fucking Gary.
Like, damn.
I still see Garry Kelly every now and again, right? Like he works downtown, so he like walks around his lunch break. He's like a nice guy,
Yeah.
right? And like I'm in uniform, and I'll see him. I'm like, "Fuck you, Garry Kelly." He's with a group of people, and they're like,
What?
With a gunshot wound
The cop
right
just
here.
told you to
"Yeah,
fuck it.
yeah."
Like in
How
the
do you know
face
him?
too. It wasn't like
So
it wasn't
pissed.
this was like a one in a,
man.
I shouldn't say it was a 1 in a million shot because he's a tremendous marksman, great American.
Nah, he
great
shot him in
soldier.
the face, man, and just
Shot
ruined
him in the face. Furthermore, this dude was trying to chuck a grenade,
And it
shoots
blew
him
up
in the
his
face, and he
grenade.
falls down, and then the grenade blows up and blows half his arm
Oh,
off.
it's so good. Yeah. So you did see photos, huh?
Yeah, I don't know how I got the photos. Somebody
me
gave me
neither.
photos.
Somebody else brought up, I won't say who, but at a very recent event that I attended, brought up the dead terrorist headshot. That they saw photos of it very recently.
I don't know. Just like,
I don't know this story.
Yeah, you do. You remember this one vividly. You guys were on the Death Star.
Okay.
First platoon was on patrol, doing their thing. All right. I want to say this was June-ish. All right. First platoon was out, and they're like, holy shit, this guy just came out of nowhere and blew himself up. And there's a dead Afghan here. I'm like, all right, you guys just need to exfil, come back to the CP as quickly as possible.
No, I still don't remember this.
You guys run the Death Star.
Okay.
They were out on patrol, all right? So a suicide bomber came out, blah, 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 blows himself up, right?
Yep.
And I'm giving the 9 line. I'm like, yeah, Roger, react. Talking to battalion, we're reacting to a.
oh fuck! Now and the teeth. Okay. All right. Now.
And I'm on the horn with battalion. I'm like, giving them my 9 line. Yeah, we react to suicide bomber, blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden, break. You need to get him entered into BATS and HIIDEs. I'm like, yeah. Hey, continuing with my and the person on the other end, I won't say who it was. I won't say their call sign either. Interrupted me 2 or 3 times about getting all these people into BATS and HIIDEs. And I was like, we had a code word. It was called, which means I'm going to call you on a line that's not monitored. So I'd call him on a sat phone. So I call this individual who outranks me. Again, I won't say who it was. And I was like, I'm sorry. I think the radio is fucking broken. Did you just tell me to go BATS and HIIDEs a dead guy? He's like, you need to get all these motherfuckers in it. Maybe it was a her. Might have been a her. I'm not going to say. You need to get all these people into BATS and HIIDEs. I'm like, I have a platoon out there that's pretty much under. I was like, yeah, okay, fine. So I hang up. I remember your reaction. You're like, glad I'm not you. So I'm like, hey, 1617, just do a quick sweep of the area, get the fuck back here. And get back here with everything you can, if you know what I'm saying. And I'm like, fine. So they come back in, and if you recall, they pull up right by the seat, right by the other part of the. What was that little part that was like not outside the CP, but it was like down a little bit, like you could drive through on the and then turn around.
Where the mechanics were?
Right before the mechanics.
Okay.
You know the little turnaround I'm
They
talking
had
about?
the medic.
It was right by the medic's place, yeah. So I told the medics to meet us there. We get down there. 17's in the back of the truck. I'm like, what'd you guys get? And he goes, hold on, let me just see what I can find. And he jumps in the back of the truck. Again, nothing ruins a good war story like an eyewitness.
I'm gonna have to cut this out.
And I'm like, all right, you made your point. And then I'm like, am I making this up?
No, not at all.
And I'm like, hey, put that shit down, all right?
Yeah.
Get the fuck down here.
Oh god.
All right. I'm like, listen, just put all this shit over there. He's like, yeah, no problem, sir. I'll just go out and pick up all these fucking pieces everywhere. You want me to put them in BATS and HIIDEs? I'll put all these other I was like, just go away. Just go away.
Yeah.
And it was actually 7 steps in. He's like, He's like, hey, 1-7, I'm just going to need you to just go away for a little bit, okay? We're going to take care of it from here. We got it. Smoking his cigarettes.
That was so funny.
So we pick up what we can find, and
Oh, perfect. Bats and hides. Good.
That's all you need.
they won't stop. Battalion's like, did you get him in bats and hides yet? I'm like, even if I did, what am I going to put for a name? He can't fucking tell me. So I'm like, all right. And then so seven, again, love this man to death. Sir, I got an idea. All right, fine, whatever. So we go down to the little medic area, and they're trying to take pictures of his first of all, the fingerprints weren't working because they were burned. So somebody took a toe print. Did you know you could do a toe print?
I didn't know you could do
Yeah,
it.
you could do a toe print. That works.
Makes sense.
That was brilliant. Trying to take pictures of his eyes, right? And they're both looking in opposite directions. And
It's rough. Yeah.
big surprise, like
tough.
the camera can't focus on him. And then Seven goes, I got another idea. Reaches in his pocket, pulls out some Visine and starts squirting Visine in both the dead guy's eyes,
shit.
right? And then shakes his fucking head like this. Anyway, so he's finally able to get, and he's like, and then we take it, we get this guy's face and the eyes lock in. I'm like, wow, I can't believe this worked.
It did.
It's pretty good.
Oh, I never heard of that.
Yeah.
You were at the Death Star the whole time, and I'm glad I
I
never
think
got to
because
you.
if you're saying in June, was there a big firefight you said beforehand, or
No, there was not. They got into a small tick, and then a dude came out of the woodwork and blew himself up.
because when I think of June, I think of we got a big firefight with a Death Star, and Holloway and Lou were fighting because they said they saw a fucking mortar round coming in, but Holloway's on the Mark 19 and Lou's on the 50 cal, and they're arguing who shot it down.
I didn't know.
That was the whole night. They just kept arguing about like, no, I saved our lives. I don't know. So.
I can see that 100%.
yeah. It came from like Parawan. Apparently, you could just see this mortar like fucking launching over, and so you could see the Mark 19 here and the 50 here, and so like they
Were you there for the Javelin incident, or was that after you had gotten injured?
it vaguely remember something about Javelin.
It was your platoon. Fernie was your platoon.
Oh,
right?
because Fernie was on top of the roof shooting
Yeah.
the Javelin.
Do you remember the Javelin
I wasn't there
incident?
for that.
Didn't you like? Didn't you like? You told him not to do something.
No.
And he was like, "No, fuck it, I'm doing it."
No. Nope.
What happened?
The Javelin incident?
Yes.
You gotta talk about
Again,
Sorry.
watching dudes in place an IED. All right. And we're like, all right, fine. I'm just gonna rain down steel on all these motherfuckers. Like, that's gonna be the end of it. Like, we're just gonna mortar the shit out of them. And we were very micromanaging. We couldn't manage our own airspace, so we had to call and request airspace. Somebody plotted the grid, and they're like, "Oh, that's within 75 meters
Of the village NFA.
No,
something like that.
of an NFA, which is a road, which they'd already dug up the road, like it's gonna blow up anyway." And they're like, "Oh, nope, you can't fire your mortars at that." And Fernie heard it on there, and God bless him. I shouldn't have said his government name. I'm sorry.
I'll believe it out.
Anyway, yeah, good point. He goes, "Hey, 6, this is whatever his call sign was. Just letting you know, I've got a lock on him with the clue."
Yeah.
And I looked over at Greg. I think you were definitely in the room. You were in the room.
Yeah.
And I looked over at Greg, and he goes, "Yeah, I'd do it." And I was like, "Yeah, hey Roger, you're cleared hot. Go ahead." And we
fired
watch-
it.
He fires it, and when we go outside, we see the thing take off, and we're watching. You were watching on the raid camera, and we see the thing come straight down on top attack and explode into a like earth-shattering kaboom and everything. I was like, "Well, get first platoon, because guess what? We're going outside the wire."
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I was gonna do a BDA.
yeah, and you remember who you rolled up to come with us?
No.
The Bosnian Hammer, Hernjik, the cook.
Purge. Oh god, that guy's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah. That dude's insane.
Great American. He is an American. Great American. Very, very Bosnian. I was like, "Hey,
Yes.
we need some bodies." He goes, "Yes, I go with you."
He don't give a
We're
shit.
going to go on mission. Yes, we're going on mission.
It's like this is nothing new, right? Like I've already lived this lifestyle.
He left
Don't
Bosnia
forget.
during the war.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I'm like,
Yeah.
we just need some people to come and help. Yes, I come with you. Yes, we go. Go. Where is my rifle?
Yep.
Like, okay, come on.
All set.
We roll down there, and we roll up on the site, and we could see because there's a smoking hole in the ground, and it's dark as fuck. We get out. I'm like, all right, Mike, you stay with the truck. We're gonna go look. No, you came with us. And we went over. I thought you came with us, And we're like, all right, shit, what are we going to do? I was like, Hernjik, don't. How did this cook end up next to me? Like, and him, I don't know. But we're like, all right, we need to start picking through this. And I didn't want any of the guys to do it. So I was like, if anybody's going to pick through it, I'll start.
Nice enough.
And
guy.
then maybe I just won't find anything and then I'll make them do it. And then they'll find something.
Yeah.
That was my calculus. Yeah. So we start picking through everything and we're looking. And all of a sudden, Hernjik goes, I find. I'm like,
he was happy, huh?
and I'm like, what'd you find? And he picks up a human hand.
Oh God.
And I'm like, all right, great. And he goes to put it in his pocket. And I'm like, put that down.
Don't do that.
Put that down. We don't need to do that.
Yeah, don't do that.
What am I supposed to do when I find? I'm like, just put it off to the side. But I don't want to lose it. I don't know where it goes. He doesn't have that strong of an accent either, but I'm just.
I think you're pretty accurate. Honestly.
I was like, you've done your due diligence. And then he found another one. And there were 2 dudes there. We found 3 hands and a foot.
Sick.
And then we had to sit on that all night until EOD could get there.
So I do remember that part, sitting there and being fucking aggravated and miserable. I do remember that.
We were sitting there. We were
Somewhat.
aggravated. It
We're
was
just
like,
pissed.
it was like whatever. And then,
All because somebody had to do some BDA.
yeah, it was me. Like,
It was our mission.
yeah, you also didn't have to listen to on the radio at the time. Like,
No.
did you get them in bats and hides? I'm
Yeah,
like,
right.
Will you fucking stop at the bats and hides? Like, there's just pieces of people here. Like, there's nothing we can do with that.
Yeah.
And as we're picking everything up, and if you remember, I'm sitting in the truck with Bittner. This is the second time this came up, and all of a sudden the sun comes up, and there's a line of blood walking into the cornfield,
Shit.
and like pieces of kit strung out, and then it was Tweak. Remember Tweak?
Yes.
Who the hell was Tweak?
What was his real name? McKernan.
We all called him the Tweak. He was like some
McLarnon?
kid from like some farm country that just looked really white and pale and yellow hair, like from South Park.
Yeah.
Nice kid.
Loved,
Yes.
loved noodling. He's like, yeah, I'm like a world class noodler with the catfish.
Okay.
So we just call him Tweak.
Yeah, but what was his name again?
I don't know
it was
for the life of
McLarnon.
me. Put a gun in my head. I don't know.
McLarnon.
Probably.
Damn.
Somebody in this podcast will see it, and they'll be like, oh, yeah.
Yeah,
it's
please.
blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, please. Because
Somebody from First Platoon. Nick Pack looking in your direction. Anyway, so he's sitting there, he's like, hey, Sergeant, I see something out there. He's like, yeah, what? And this is 1-7 Bittner. He's like, oh, what do you see? He's like, I'm not quite sure. It looks like a guy laying down. I was like, is he moving? He's like, oh, no, he ain't moving. And he goes, all right, well, just wait till the sun comes up and we'll get out there. And he goes, okay. Hey, Sergeant, you think that could be the guy? And he goes, that would be some fucking coincidence, wouldn't it? Shut the fuck up.
I just heard Bitter's voice too.
he had a very distinctive voice too. Very, very distinctive.
Love that man.
Oh, deep.
Iron Gray X-Ray, this is Brutus 17. I just gave you our logistics report. And make sure that all of these go to the appropriate places. Otherwise, I will not win the Mr. Congeniality Award. Thank you, Brutus 17 out. And then they fucked it all up, and we got the last big party at my house. At my house with the indoor pool.
And life coach.
Yeah, with life coach. Yeah, Jackie the life coach.
And a life coach.
She wasn't a life coach.
Oh, yeah.
So that's another tangent we can happily go on.
Hey, no, I got it. It's good.
We'll keep you here all. You're going to get plenty of material. This is going to be like 5 podcasts. Anyway,
Yeah, the problem is you have to go through it and be like, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
exactly.
I can't put this
these
shit on
fucking people. Jesus,
here.
stay
What
on
the fuck
topic.
do they keep talking about?
What did I do with my life?
I'm definitely gonna have to ask Jack a few questions before I release this.
Yeah, we were talking about Lou, and that last party was the one where I finally was able to give you the flag that we saved after you got wounded that day, and and we were trying to figure out which of his kids. Do you remember the floating beer pong table that I had in the pool? You may not remember, but anyway, so we all went outside to get a couple more beers, and I came back in a few minutes later, and Lou is in the pool by himself with Mike's kids. On this floating beer pong table, like shuttling them around the pool, being like, "Oh, isn't this fun?" Oh,
so nice
It's
of
like
him.
the killer whale
Yeah.
with the seals on top of
Yeah.
the little ice, and he's just pushing.
That's what I'm saying. It's so
right?
nice of him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, but he was nice.
He was. He was like, yeah, he was-
He would do that for hours.
but he's
And he
also a
did,
killer
yeah.
whale.
Exactly.
And it's pushing these puppy seals.
Yeah.
Like, think about that.
Well, he wasn't gonna eat
man.
them.
No, of course not. No. I'm not
like-
saying that. But
Uncle Lou didn't give you dip,
could.
did he?
yeah, right.
Yeah.
But he could if he wanted to.
And your wife actually said that. She's like, "Oh, y'all having a good time at Uncle Lou?"
Yeah, right. Good
And
dude.
pushing them around, and Michaela's like, "More Uncle Lou,
Yeah.
more Uncle Lou." And like he was like he didn't want to make it too wavy, but he was like trying to move it around a
Just
little
a
bit.
gentle giant. Right?
Yeah,
He was, yeah.
Yeah,
He
that
was,
was.
yeah.
It was a side of Luca Capaldi I had never seen before, which I'm sure there was
A
much
lot of people
more
have
of
never
it.
seen.
Yeah, he was.
I think that's the.
And
that's
your
the most
wife
accurate.
trusted him
Yeah,
in a
she
pool
knew.
with your kids. Like
She knew.
you know,
She knew. She's
she
like,
knew.
oh no, I ain't worried about that.
Yeah, she's
Not a
like,
fear in the world.
I ain't worried about that. I'm worried about my drunk ass husband
Yeah,
outside.
that's what she was more worried
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, well.
The fuck he gonna do next?
Yeah, right. She yeah, she's all right.
Shut your fat mouth.
She's all right.
Lou really appreciated that party. He talked about it a lot.
I'm
afterwards.
glad. Yeah, I'm glad. As I said, whatever it took to bring you guys together.
That was a hike too.
I know. You guys took one for the team. That's why I don't mind coming out this way. It's not that big of a deal.
So Masamute, the legendary.
Yeah. Where do we start with Masamute? Do we start with You've seen the movie Restrepo, I'm guessing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep.
Do you remember Rock Avalanche?
Yeah.
Okay. So you've obviously seen Restrepo. So this is so
I
so.
haven't.
You haven't? Bullshit.
No, really?
Why?
Really? You haven't?
Never saw it.
I mean, it's like everything. It's like our deployment in a nutshell.
Probably why I didn't see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Never saw
yeah.
it.
I
Never
can see that.
avoided it.
Yeah.
I'm not avoiding it. Just
Yeah. I can see that.
no.
I just remember
I get a couple beers in, and then I like throw that on, and then my
Sure.
wife's like, "I'm going to bed."
Yeah.
and I'm like, and I'm just like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do this thing right now." Like you know, I'm like, "Yeah, it's fucking cool." Yeah.
All it makes me want to do is have another dip. I haven't had a dip in 5 years.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But Masamute was such a big fucking mission. I remember we were
Yeah.
planning out even before I left, and like I remember I
No,
was
definitely not. We were planning. Absolutely not. We were planning out other places that were not near there. But
okay.
Hendor and all that shit.
No,
'Cause,
we weren't. Nope.
Oh well,
Nope.
I forgot. He used the plan.
Only because
like,
I remember.
no,
I
you're wrong.
remember
Nope,
my
he's right.
squad. I thought it was Masamute. My squad was on this mission where we were getting some active duty MPs to cordon the outside of the valley. We were getting air sorted in, and then initially my squad was just go in, and we were supposed to kick down all the doors and clear out the village.
Was that not
Correct.
Hendor?
That was the western side of the village, and there was another place over there, and then we were going to walk and have a KLE, and we were talking about it.
Okay.
And blah 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 blah. That never happened. July 3rd happened, and did we have any of the video from? Did you ever see the video from the 4th of July?
That was
Yes.
an awesome
Miguel
party.
shared it with me.
That
That
was
was an awesome party.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
nobody throws a party like
Fuck
Pico.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah,
like,
you haven't seen it? I mean,
I
it
don't
was,
think. I don't think so.
I don't know if we should talk about it on camera though.
because we didn't fire a single one. Anyway,
Yes.
I digress. Thank you, Terry, for keeping us on task. Fast forward to
good.
a couple weeks after you got injured, all right? The ANA did a unilateral operation into the Badpash. Was it Badpash? One of those valleys. Into Galuch, all right? Did not end well. A whole bunch of them got captured. Either killed to the last man. Not killed to the last man, but a lot of them got killed. Some defected. A lot got taken prisoner, and all their equipment was gone. So nobody came back. And they're like, "Shit, we gotta
Go find these motherfuckers.
go find these motherfuckers."
Yeah.
So it started off with ACO. At this point, Frank Tantillo was commander of
the Tank.
ACO. So Alpha 6, they went to Shigoolian, all right? And the intent was that they were on the west side of the Hendor Valley. It'd be better if I could point it out, but you guys get the point, right? So they started by assaulting from that way, moving up the mountain, then down up the west side of the mountain, then down the east side, all right? And then they said at any point, BCO, you guys are going to, as a full company, air assault into the east side so we can encircle these jabronis and, hopefully, put the smack down on them. All right. In the meantime, bunch of these shitheads exfilled into this village of Hendor, so it completely changed everything because now we have to assault Hendor. And we get the call. We go down to Mederlam with one platoon.
Yep.
Because that's all we have. We have to leave somebody at Najil.
And the mortars. We took like a team of mortars.
We took like 2 or 3 mortarmen.
Everline.
Everline, yep. We couldn't take all the mortarmen because we had to leave a bunch of dudes back there. It was
I think
Thomas.
it was just Everline and Thomas.
I don't think Thomas came, but if you tell me he did, fine. Yeah, I believe you. I
remember Everline, but go ahead.
So we go down there, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm a company commander with 1 platoon right now. So like, what's the deal here? And like, oh, we're going to give you this random platoon from the 101st.
Yep.
Palisade.
Yep.
What were they? Buka platoon.
Yes. Wow, you got such a great memory. Damn.
It comes and it goes.
Damn.
Andrew Palisade was, and Fleming was the platoon sergeant.
No. Was that 1327?
Yeah.
Those.
Their sole purpose in life for this deployment was they were just like
QRF.
Getting sent random places
Jesus,
and like
that's terrible.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Oh my god.
That was what they had Jesse Snow with them.
Yep. Snow and Adamski, also Adamski. So these dudes show up.
That was
and
a shit.
They're
job
just
there.
like, yeah, hey, we're your platoon. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you. I did the Fort Bragg look at this dude. Do you know the Fort Bragg look?
I don't know. Oh yeah. That look,
Like, all right. So you have
seen
some,
that look.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm a company commander. I'm like, all right.
That's funny. Okay.
I did.
Well, you got. I
gave him the
he's a
Fort Bragg.
commander. He's a commander. If you're gonna be an officer in charge of an infantry element, I gotta G check you at the door. Like
right. Well, that's exactly what I did,
that.
and I was like, all right, you have instant credibility. And this dude, Palisade, was amazing. This dude. I don't know what he's up to now. I know I did write him a very nice recommendation to go to Ranger Regiment, and
Good.
I know he went there. I have no idea where he is now, but love to reconnect with him at some point. And I was like, all right, so you and your platoon sergeant both passed the Fort Bragg check. You guys have instant credibility. This is what we're doing. And I'm like, okay, yeah, Roger. Yeah, we got it. Gave him task, purpose, end state. This is everything. We start walking through, the rock drill and everything. And then Fleming, he's like, sir, I got a question. How we a company, we only got 2 platoons. I'm like, yeah, well, listen, bro, you go to war with the army you got, not with the army you want. And he's like, they tell us to hit a company objective with 2 platoons. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what's happening right now, and that's what we're gonna fucking do.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, all right, Roger, I got a fucking hard on, sir. I'm like,
Okay. All right.
yeah.
All right.
You're gonna fit in well here. You are gonna fit in very well, and so. We're less than, if you recall, during all the planning for all this, I got first platoon came on the first mission to Hendor.
Okay.
All right, if you recall, LeBeau, again, my first sergeant, who I love, one of my best friends, has to go on leave, and we had this bet when we started the deployment. We're like,
his daughter was being.
Why'd you have to?
Shit. Okay. Sorry. My bad.
Like, I spent every waking moment with this dude for better part of a year, and like, just like, nights on the roof with a stogie, like, what are we going to do here, man? And we had a bet going. We're like, we're going to see who can spend the least amount of money this year that we're here. And neither of us are going to take our mid-tour leave. I'm like, all right, yeah. I'm in for that bet. Let's do it. All of a sudden he's like, I got to go on mid-tour leave and I'm leaving. Yep. All right, fine. And then this mission set comes down. So it was very awkward. I'm like, fuck, what are we going to do? I got no first sergeant now. Anyway, so he's gone. We start piecing together everything, and now all of a sudden we're trying to figure, like, we're rock drilling this, and then they're like, hey, we got a 3rd platoon for you here, and we're like literally 6 hours from infill.
Oh wow.
If that, maybe less. Maybe I think it was because I'd already given the rock drill, I'd given my plan, I've walked through everything, and then what's his name? The HHC first sergeant comes up and he's like, I'm like, are we going to do Mako-Dako procedures and like bump plan? And like, what happens if an aircraft goes down? All these things. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, nobody's thought that through. You should probably work on that.
that sounds about right.
Yeah. So that's exactly what happened. Yeah. So do you remember we went out to I made you do.
I remember doing a rock drills.
Well, you were the one who built the whole thing.
Yeah. It was miserable.
So we walk through and I'm like, I need everybody down here. We're going to rehearse who gets on an aircraft when they land, what they do. And I won't say who. The S3 was like, this is stupid. I'm like, this is like kind of how you do. There's this whole thing called a blue book.
Yeah.
You know,
That's how you do
that the 101st does it. Like, this is like how we're supposed to do things.
Yeah.
So I was like, aircraft 1, chalk 1, you're the chalk leader. You're going to say your task, purpose, people that you have. Aircraft lands, what your task and purpose does, where you move to by phase of the operation. And
phase lines, let me winks, and I remember
all the phase lines that I did were all South Park characters.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's good.
So yeah,
See, I remember some of the stuff.
That's good. That's
liked
actually
it.
a good one. I like that one.
It was good.
so I'll move to phase line Lemmy Winks, and then we'll orient and posture to the left. Our task is to block. With
This
the purpose of-
legitimately happened. I'm not even kidding.
No, that's what you do though. Yeah.
So I'm doing this with my company, and then and then all of a sudden, like, somebody sees this, like, you need to do this for the whole battalion. I'm like, yeah, no shit. I'm trying to tell somebody this is like how you run a battalion mission. So next thing you know, they're like, you need to do this for the whole battalion. So this poor schmuck has to go and build an entire terrain model for the entire battalion. And we rehearse the whole thing. We go through all the Mako-Dako procedures. We go through the bump plan. We go through making sure that and also we had to take the Afghans with us too. So it's like, I've got my 5 Afghan assaulters. I'm going to push them in this direction. Their task is purpose. Their task is block with the purpose of preventing enemy forces from massing on the decisive operation, blah, 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 blah. We go through all this thing. We're probably, we're about to get like kit up and go out for PZ posture. And all of a sudden they're like, hey, here's your 3rd platoon. I'm like,
Who was it?
are you fucking serious? Like, you're giving me, it was Robinson.
The black one?
Yeah, Black Robinson. Because you know exactly where I'm going with this on Hendor.
I mean, I made a comment earlier.
There were a lot of comments that you made that day that were very. So anyway,
Auspicious.
Robinson shows up, E7 platoon leader, because they don't have an officer. Like, whatever. Okay, fine. With Thorntonson. E6. Fat Thorntonson.
Yeah. You can't call him that.
So he shows up. He's like, hey, man, I'm a platoon sergeant, a platoon leader, man. Yeah. I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, what am I? How many people do you have? Oh, I'm not sure. I think I got like 30, maybe 36. I'm like, no. Like, we need to know how many fucking people you have because we're about to go do this. So we figure all this out, and they're like, you have less than an hour until PZ posture.
Jesus.
And I'm like, listen, this is what we're going to do. Yeah. We're going to fucking infill. We're going to secure the HLZ, and then we're going to figure out what the fuck we're going to do next because this is ridiculous. All right. We infill.
Yep.
I remember you yelled at me. You're like, sir, you cannot be the first person off the aircraft. And I'm like,
because you always, you can't do that. I mean, I know Rangers lead the way.
No, I just did. I was like, you know what? This is such a shit show. I hope that I get
some Hal Moore shit.
I hope I get shot in the face and that's the end of it. And this could be somebody else's because I don't want, this is bullshit. Ramp drops. I'm like, let's go, Mike.
Yep.
We go running. You're like, I'm hiding behind your elephant ass.
Yeah, you big guy.
So anyway, we secure the HLZ, no big deal, and then so we're the first on the ground. All the other aircraft come in.
Sanellini broke his foot.
Nope, that was a different mission. That wasn't that was 2 weeks after that, and he didn't break his arm. He fell off the air. He ran off the.
Yes.
Do you remember what you said to me?
Do
you remember what you said to me when we were trying to lip land?
No, I probably said way too much. Clearly. What did I say?
We were sitting on the tail of the aircraft. The ramp comes down, and the pilot couldn't lip land for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And then it was just straight down. You're like, how about your fucking parachute?
It's like a foot.
Right. Sounds about right.
Yeah. And I was like, what? It's gonna.
So this is still Masamute, right?
No. This is way before Masamute. We get on the ground there. We completely come up with a new plan. And I'm getting to a very, very important part of this deployment story too that I know you're thinking about. And if you recall, it was like, all right, so now you guys are going to assault this village called Hendor. I'm like, all right, fine.
Sure.
We go down there to start clearing this village, and on the first day, we establish a foothold. All right, we've got some buildings, and we start taking fire from the green spot.
That wasn't the mountain in front of us.
That was the mountain in front of us,
Okay.
the green spot. We're taking fire from it. And I got the JTAC next to me, Aloysius.
Yep.
I got you. And I'm like, you guys got to get eyes on there. And we're returning fire. We're taking fire from there. And I'm like, yeah, all right, listen. hey, JTAC, listen, I want to fucking destroy that thing. Like, I don't care what it, just
He said, we're going to Winchester that bitch, sir.
yeah, that's
what he said.
that's exactly what I said. We're going to Winchester this bitch right now.
Yeah.
He's like, all right, fine. Yeah, no problem. So we're sitting there. We're behind a little wall. It's about this high. And he's next to me. The JTAC's next to me. And I remember Mike going, what'd you say to me?
I don't know.
Shit, sir. Those rounds are kind of close.
Because we got into a lot of, that was one of the longest firefights.
Yeah,
I've been
yep,
in.
yeah.
Because they were
Facts.
they were just pouring shit down.
We
I
were
was
getting
like,
shot at for a while. So the rounds are coming in.
Yeah.
They're coming in. They're, I got my headset on. I can hear the whiz and the pop, but I was focused on what I was doing. I was maneuvering platoons, and he's. So like the third or fourth time, like, sir, this shit's getting close. You need to get behind something.
Because he would not fucking see. It's coming back.
Yep, here it comes. He's gonna get really ghetto in a second.
He could.
This motherfucker
would
not go behind the ball.
Just not. Like, God damn, bring your ass. Like, bring your fucking ass. Like he just would not. Because he's C2 in the fight, right? And I get it.
I was focused. I was doing what I was supposed to be doing.
There's two parts to this shit, all right? You got to do that, and you got to walk. You got to bring your ass around here. You know what I'm saying? Like,
did you not notice how he just got really ghetto? All
No.
So then all of a sudden,
I feel like this is every relationship with a commander and an LTO, because it's just like, God damn it, sir.
Yeah, man. Like, bring your ass. Fuck.
All of a sudden, he comes over to me. And I hear the zip and the dude behind me, behind where he was, boom, in the leg. Ooh. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I get up and I go over here. And then a guy right behind me, whoom, in the leg.
Oh, this is A&A, one of our guys.
It was one of our guys, and it was an A&A guy.
This is no joke, dude.
And
this happened. Like,
yeah.
I mean, trust me,
dude,
straight up divine
like
intervention.
Movie shit though, like movie shit. That's what I'm saying. Like,
trust me, I get it. Like when you
no. Hey,
I think he gets.
There's
it,
a point.
So, anyway, so we
wild.
And this is the point. This is the point in the story where from before when he brought up, I was like, I looked behind us and there were two. There were at least two.
Yes.
The EOD guys who were sleeping, and we're like,
rack the fuck out.
Yeah, and that's when I was like, hey, do you guys mind picking up a rifle and giving us a hand?
These fucks.
Dude, we're in the middle of a fight.
And guys
we're fighting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, it was their platoon sergeant who just got shot in the leg. So
we're fighting. I looked at him. I said out loud, I said, "Is he fucking sleeping?" And then that's when
I feel like I was very calm.
Hey, do you mind picking up a rifle and I don't know, helping
So
us
we
out
go
here?
to grab their platoon sergeant, and we grab, and me and you and Ethan Aloysius, we grab their platoon sergeant, and we go to pull them behind that giant rock that was at our 6:00, and we're dragging them. And this is when Michael went completely for ghetto on me. Like this is the first time he just unloaded on me in a whole year. It's like, the fuck, you gonna listen to my from now on? Look, I'm fucking Brutus 6. I'm fucking bulletproof. The fuck gonna happen? You get shot in the face. I gotta carry your heavy ass. You gotta listen to my from now on. You gotta listen to Mike. I was like, all right, Mike. I don't.
Just a little bit. I need you to listen just a little bit.
I had to play it down.
I had not been. No one had screamed at me like that since I was a little kid. Just so you know.
Because I was pissed.
I know you were pissed, and I appreciate.
And you're out here fucking. Bring your ass.
I'm gonna have to carry your heavy ass all over the place because you get bulletproof. You gotta listen to my. I told you to get the fuck down, son. Fuck.
There was a slight elevation because you got like the village was like lower than the hilltop, obviously, that we landed on.
So I didn't know what to say.
I'm remembering this shit like, nah, man, hell nah. I can't go down.
Like straight up, and we're dragging these people. And like, I felt bad. Like, I didn't know what to say other than. And you just kept yelling at me, and I deserved it. I deserved it. For the record, I deserved it. Like, I did. That shit was close.
It was very close.
And we're dragging these dudes over there, and I was like, Mike, I don't know what you want me to say. Like, you're smart. I'm unintelligent. You are good looking. I'm unattractive.
Yep.
He's like, now you're going to tell fucking jokes? You want to tell fucking jokes?
It's even more bad.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what to say.
I just want to live.
Yeah. And then Nate goes, hey, Mike, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're like, man, fuck you too.
Yeah, fuck him too. See, what I say, fuck him too. Fuck him too.
Fuck you.
Dude.
And then, so we pull these guys to cover. All right. We're like, all right. So you guys, Nate, you have eyes on.
I can see this.
Dude, I was
Mike's
pissed.
like, I need a minute. I was like, why don't you take a minute?
I didn't need a whole lot of time, but there were times that I needed a minute.
Yeah,
that's all.
That's fine. You could take a minute. I didn't.
that's all.
And I also had a radio too. I could call. You were basically like, you were my emotional support RTO that I used to drag with me. What are you doing? Oh, I'm sleeping. Get up. You're coming to have lunch with me, so I don't have to eat alone.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
You're my emotional support.
Yeah, you were sleeping, motherfucker.
Who are these EOD guys from? Are they here just for the mission, or are they
Yeah,
here
we
for?
got
here
a bunch
just for
of them
mission.
attached to us. They were all from Wantrop's platoon. Do you remember Wantrop? So they were good dudes, but you know, like I didn't. That's on me as a commander. I didn't give them anything to do.
I mean, like if it's a firefight, you cover at the very least.
Yeah, they were in cover. Yeah, they were definitely under cover. They were just not engaged.
Rack the fuck out.
That's fine. Like, you know, they got to sleep. They have another job too, and I didn't tell them to do anything. I'm owning that. I'm owning that as a man. Like that's
Not me.
I
Did you
didn't
take out the green spot at least?
So the green spot
Winchester.
we have got great footage of
Winchester.
where we had an entire flight of F-16s and
Apaches there.
a full company of Apaches go Winchester.
Nice.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
then we they
The
stopped
fire
shooting
stopped.
at us.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It was weird. And
To this day, if I hear like a,
weird. It's like a figment.
plane, it sounds like a fast mover. I just feel good. I just feel like all warm.
yeah, they
Oh,
came and they dropped a lot of. Side note: the day we were leaving, the last couple days we were leaving. Remember, we went to the Chow Hall. I made you come with me with Stone.
Where?
It was me, you, and Stone.
Okay.
And we went in there and we saw the call sign, Dude 16.
Who's that?
It was Dude 16, the guys that always supported us.
Oh, really?
And I was like, hey, Dude 16, do you guys are you with the Dude element that flies up in Najil? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm Brutus 6. Like, holy shit, you're Brutus 6?
It's you.
We've never dropped so much ordnance anywhere.
Thank you. Right? That's what
I was like, thank you. You guys really saved us. No, thank you.
Exactly.
We need to get this out. We need to get this out.
Kept them employed.
Yeah. No, that's good.
So anyway, me and we get these guys, we get to cover, we blow that, we take care of that. I do need to tie in a Ranger School story here. If you're familiar with Ranger School, you spend a lot of time at patrol bases. All right. I never in a million years thought that I would have to do patrol base activities for real in a real environment.
Yeah.
Like this was, we had a,
Like legitimate.
can we back up for 1 second? Because
Go for
when
it.
we were taking cover over there, do you remember what happened?
No. You have to refresh me.
We get a call on the radio from a frantic Crusader 26 Robinson.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm an outright boy. I got that guy shot in the chest, man. I got all blah, blah, blah. And he's very Jamaican, great American, as I said, tremendous.
Thick accent though.
He got
And it
handed
got
a shit
worse.
sandwich and he ate every last bite and he did an amazing job. But I could not understand what the fuck he was saying on the radio whatsoever. All I got was A&A guy shot in the chest.
Nah, it fits.
Mike,
Yeah.
what the fuck did he
Hey,
say?
can you translate this shit? Yeah.
Mike, what did he say? And he was still really upset about the last thing that happened. He's like, "Oh, now we gonna go racist in
Yeah,
it, right?
right.
Just because me and my family going on downtown and have jerk chicken on Sundays together.
So now we
I
know
know what
every
he's
Jamaican,
saying,
right? So
now
we
I know what the
every
fuck he's
Jamaican.
saying.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, that was very insensitive of me. I'm sorry, Mike.
Still so mad. Okay.
I love it.
Yeah, I was like, all right, I'm sorry. Like we need to help them.
Yeah.
Like we need to somehow help. Now, also, side note, something you never ever tell a company commander on the radio is when you call your 7 element and you say, hey, shift fire so we can move. Say, I can't hear. There's too much shooting.
Dude.
Wrong answer.
Dude.
Wrong answer.
Dude.
And I was like, I got to go tell this guy to shift fire so that we can now maneuver down there. And anyway, we ended up getting all their guys medevaced. And Fleming got shot in the leg too and refused to medevac. The guy from Buka platoon. He's like, yeah, it's just a flesh wound. Honestly, I don't want to go back because I'll end up someplace else. I want to stay with you guys.
That was a good platoon.
That was a great platoon. So fast forward to Masamute. All right. So this went on for over a month, where we would do these air assault missions into these random places, seize key terrain, clear all the bad guys out, clear all the bad guys out.
We was killing motherfuckers, Joe. Like,
Yeah.
real
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
That was wild.
But they were all bad.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Just so everybody knows, they were all bad.
Well, yeah.
And then do a key leader engagement.
Yeah, we hear about your hearts and minds.
Yeah, right.
We're talking. Yeah, we gotta build you a school here.
Let's patch this thing up.
So you know the drill. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so when then we get the mission to go to this place called Masamute. I start walking through all the, I'm doing my back brief to the commander, and I'm asking about, the enemy situation that the S2 is templated. I was like, well, you templated one enemy squad and it's nowhere near here, and that's not the SIGINT that's reflecting it. I was like, oh yeah, I guess I just didn't put that on the slide right. I'm like, bro, that's like a big difference, right? Like,
Yeah.
I need to know like what's down there. So anyway, I made some calls and I was like, hey, listen, can you find me whatever ISR is not tasked anywhere? And they said that every single piece of flying ISR was in Abbottabad, Afghanistan, circling a house, and no one knew why.
Weird.
Yeah.
Interesting. Pakistan.
Does nobody know Abbottabad?
Yeah.
Asadabad?
No, Abbottabad.
Bad.
Because on May 2nd the following year.
Yeah.
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 Weird.
So like, we don't know why every single predator is burning a hole in the sky over here. And I was like, well, can you get me two that are when they
Weird.
need to refuel and just get them over this objective for a little bit? I didn't think anyway, that's just a quick aside.
That's pretty wild. That's actually pretty
Weird.
wild. I'm not gonna lie.
We did.
I get it.
we did
I
get
don't
it,
have.
though.
I don't have the verbally. Yeah, I got it.
We did get a piece of what was it? Was it a predator?
Yeah,
that
I got
came over? We
I was
got
able
one.
to break one away because I was.
We did get one.
Well, I had to look at the S2 was telling me, oh yeah, you can't have any overhead. The battalion staff is telling me there's no overhead. So I called the battalion L&O, Bradford, who's now retired. And I was like, listen, I can see the ATO. I can see that this piece of ISR has no tasking.
Yep.
I'm going to give it, a PIR and some EEIs.
That's not how that went.
And
You
an
were
NAI.
arguing with him. And you were talking shit. and
Can you
got
just
it.
send it over there?
They were
and-
talking shit back and forth. I don't even know why you're trying to. What I remember, that was a back and forth. That wasn't.
It was a back and forth,
That
but
wasn't
I-
a hey, can I have this? It was a hey, I need this shit. Y'all
And
need
here's
to give
why.
me this
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. I mean, like, put yourself in my situation.
Fair enough.
Yeah, clean that up. That was.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got it. We got
Yeah.
it.
We
We
more
got
aggressive.
great
It was
predator
more than
footage. Let me tell you, we got great predator footage of us getting off the aircraft too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's-
awesome.
There's me getting off. There's you right behind me.
Well, that's where I was.
I'm getting behind you.
Yeah, that's where I was.
Anyway, so this mission was fucked from Jump Street because, first of all, we found out we're trying to do this thing. It's a battalion level air assault with one aircraft.
Oh, fun.
Right. And so I was
So
like,
much
it
fun.
says in the blue book right here that you
can't actually
you need
do
two
that,
aircraft.
yeah.
What happens if one breaks down?
One aircraft. Jesus.
What's the bump plan? I asked all the follow-up questions. So finally, I made enough of a stink over that we got two aircraft. Like, oh yeah, you guys can't do this with one aircraft. Here you go. Here's
Yeah,
another
no
one.
shit. Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Funny
it's
how that
like a
works, huh?
dick hole, but I
can't
told
even
you
get
so.
a goddamn foothold with
Yeah.
one aircraft.
Well,
so-
that's funny. Go ahead.
So we also the S2 told us that there would and I don't want to shit on the S2. It was a brand new second lieutenant because all the S2s kept getting fired. So
But you were an intel guy, so you
Yeah,
were just
yeah.
like,
So I was, like, asking
you're,
all the-
you're
the-
a fucking piece of shit. But
no,
okay,
I
cool.
wouldn't say he was a piece of shit, but he didn't know what he didn't know. I did have an E5 at the time because you were an E5 at this point, who I had trained and who could do relative combat power analysis and did a way better job.
Yeah.
So eventually we were able to talk through all this thing. We've got some overhead ISR. We've got eyes on, and there's some SIGINT and some single source human intelligence that's indicating that perhaps there might be some obstacles, namely reinforced obstacles and existing obstacles, meaning that they're IEDs. That's Army terms for IEDs. So, like, hey, we need the EOD guys to come with us, right? So fast forward, the EOD company commander's like, hey, if I'm sending all these guys with us, I want to go on the mission with you. I'm like, I also Fort Bragg checked him too. I'm like, wow, hey,
he was shit hot. Yeah.
you are the dude. I was like, hey, listen, I would love for you to come with me and be in the CP. He's like, really? I'm like, yes, yeah, bro, I fucking need you. Like, I can't do this alone. No offense, but like,
Yeah, I respect that though.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So anyway, he's on the first lift with me. We got it broken down. I don't remember how many lifts there were that day, but
There was supposed to be. There was
At least
supposed to
12.
be, but we only got 2.
There were supposed to be at least 12 lifts of 30.
Lifts of 30, yeah.
I think maybe 16 or 20. All right. Sorry, turns, not lifts. So 2 aircraft per turn.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we were only putting 30 on
Yeah.
each aircraft because we were at 6,500 feet. So
Yeah.
you do the math.
No
Roughly
fuel.
500 people. Yeah. And that was the other thing was
fuel
turns
thing,
for
yeah.
fuel to make sure we got on that. Anyway. We get the ice call. I'm like, all right, yeah, we're going. I remember sitting on the PZ and Forrest Scott would not stop singing the Star Wars song. I'm at the Star Wars canteen. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Forrest. Jesus. I haven't slept in 2 days. I don't need to hear this shit. I had slept, but I was
yeah,
tired.
but no, we weren't sleeping like that because it was so much planning.
I know, yeah.
It was miserable.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we infill, we get on the ground. EOD guys are there. They don't find anything. I'm like, all right, let's go strong point some terrain. I had mostly EOD guys on my first lift in the event, on the first aircraft of the first turn, in the event that there was some obstacles for them to reduce there.
Yeah.
There was nothing. I was like, all right, hey, listen, you guys go pull security. Mac was there.
Yep.
And Mac was as I said, another tabbed out airborne ranger who's like, yeah, if you guys aren't fucking reducing obstacles, you're infantrymen. You pull security. I was like, man, my dick just went from, I went from 6 to midnight. I was like, this is exactly what we need.
Good dude, honestly.
Pulling security, first platoon lands. They go to the west side of the objective, just like we had it all mapped out. Next aircraft land, and then now the A&A guys are landing. And we're like, all right, just kind of like stay out of our way for a little bit while we figure this out.
Let me just ask a quick question. Only 2 aircraft landed.
No,
correct?
we had 4 aircraft land, 120 total, but there were only 60 Americans, 60 plus
That's what it was.
Americans.
Yeah, because the other half was
Because we had to
A&A.
take the A&A with
The
us.
A&A. Yep.
So the A&A land, and then finally Buka platoon, wheels down, like, all right, yep.
That's 101st, guys, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
1327.
Yep. They take the east side of the objective, and we expand the airhead. You've probably been on an airborne assault once or twice.
Once or twice. A little bit faker, but yeah.
Yeah. But you've probably been on one to like expand the airhead, right?
Yeah.
An airfield seizure.
Yep.
So we're expanding the air. Now we can land multiple aircraft because we own this piece of terrain. That's fine. And then all of a sudden,
Dude, it
rain,
was, yeah,
snow, like
hail,
like it just out of nowhere.
Oh, wow.
Get the call on the radio. I was like, hey, we can't make it up the valley.
Oh, shit.
All right. Okay, fine. We're just going to go ahead. We'll collapse the perimeter a little bit, and we'll sit tight.
So at this point, you're at 60 and A&A.
You see what I'm saying? That's
Yeah.
what I was like.
Yep.
That's what I was counting how
Right?
many
So
aircraft
you're
came
at 60 and A&A.
There's 4 aircraft.
Wild.
4 aircraft
Yeah.
landed.
Wild.
60 plus Americans, not many more, but and a lot of A&A.
Which...
And trying to tie the perimeter
all know.
together. We had the mortars with us. We had 2 mortarmen
Yeah.
and
60s or 81s.
60s, and every single person who was on the
They
first
jumped to
infill
one. Yeah.
had one
Or-
round.
Yeah.
So
grab one. Yeah.
we had them go.
Yep.
That was our idea.
That's
Yeah,
a good
I
idea.
carried two.
That's a...
Because you made me carry 2.
Yeah, I
You were
know.
like, hey,
Yeah.
you should probably grab another one.
Yeah, grab another one. I got
Yeah,
it.
No,
that's-
it was, you should probably grab another
That's
one.
proper planning.
Yeah.
That's good.
So we had them go set up, and they went and they set up, and I was like, hey, this is what we're going to do one at a time just to make sure. Let's send 2 people from each fire team, go to the mortar area, and go drop off your 2 rounds so that they have.
That is some patrol-based shit right there.
Yeah. So we're setting everything up, and basically at this point, like, we don't have enough firepower to go and start assaulting the village.
Yeah.
But
Button tight.
yeah, but like, so basically we're just sitting there in the rain.
In the rain.
You know,
and the
like, this is
yeah,
fucking
hail.
stupid.
Yeah.
All
that's
right,
good.
whatever. And then we had somebody come to the perimeter dressed in an A&A uniform. I'm like, all right, this is sketchy. This is very sketchy. Coming up from the village. His story did not make any sense whatsoever. We asked him what unit he was with, blah, blah, blah. And the interpreter was like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And also his accent is very weird. It's like, all right, hey, invite him in to hang out with us for a little bit. So we bring him in.
Hung out.
And then these females come up, and
Which is weird.
yeah. We're like, can we help you? And they're like, yeah, we're going looking for water. And there's no well here. I'm like, okay, that's weird. And then I remember you asked them, hey, what are you guys doing here? Like, oh, we came to pick pomegranates. Like,
It's different.
all right.
See?
And I was like, all right, tell the A&A to hold on to these 2 because they're not going anywhere for a little bit. Clearly, they were scouting the perimeter
Yeah.
to figure out where we were.
Did you know what that piece of terrain was
Which piece of terrain?
that we were in, that we were currently occupying at that point?
I didn't know what it was. I thought it was just a good place to. It was a
Nice.
target reference point.
Yeah, and it had great cover, right? Or I shouldn't say great cover, but pretty good cover. It was a fucking cemetery.
Oh yes, I did know it was a cemetery.
I didn't. So that's what I'm saying. I didn't mean like. Did you not know? I just wanted to make sure that I was included in there. It was a goddamn cemetery.
So yeah, we infilled onto a cemetery. We did find a good piece of terrain.
Yeah.
That we were able to.
It's a good amount of cover.
Yeah, there's a
you
wall
see what
about
I'm
this
saying?
high.
Yeah.
I had him next to me. Mac was here. I had the JTAC.
Foley. Yeah.
Nathan Aloysius Foley, and we're like, all right, I guess we're just gonna sit here and
Wait
make
for more aircraft in,
make
in
sure
the morning,
till
maybe.
we can get the rest of everything in here.
This is where it go left.
Yeah, this is where it went left hard. I remember the music in the village.
Okay.
Do you remember the music in the village?
I do a little bit. Not
And
not
everybody
very loud,
cheering.
though. Yep. It wasn't cheering though. I'll tell this part because this is very. I remember this like very clearly. And just clean me up if I'm off. You could hear like singing, chanting, and it transitioned into like this blood curdling scream of like I imagine that's how like Custer heard with those Indians, like getting
Before,
ready.
before that.
Like it.
Just hyping themselves up.
I mean that wholeheartedly. And he looks at me. He goes, Mike, what the fuck are they saying? Find out what they're saying. I'm like, sir, I don't. I hit him with his line, so I don't speak Ooga Booga. He didn't think that.
I
shit
don't know
was
what
funny.
Robinson's saying. You want me to expect?
He didn't think that shit was funny. He looked straight through me. He's like, find out what the fuck they're saying. What are they saying? He's freaking out. I'm like, I don't know. I'm asking the Terp, and the Terp it was by the way.
Yeah.
Turned white.
Oh yeah,
He was
I could see that,
fucking
yeah.
afraid.
He was very
I could
afraid,
See
yeah.
it. I could see it.
And that's when I left to go walk the perimeter to go tell everybody to like, hey,
Yep.
fucking
Button
lock
up.
and load just
Yeah,
in case.
button
if you're
up.
not already, if you're not already, they should have been.
I think you were already back to me because you didn't go too far, but by that time, first RPG hit.
Well, the first RPG hit, I remember I walked the perimeter. I'd already gone to 2-6's position, Buka's position. I was on my way back, and I was looking south at scanning the perimeter, and I remember seeing the flash and then hearing the noise and then seeing the RPG come in.
Yeah, I
And
didn't.
I
even see
remember
it.
being so I was like, "Yo, man, what you
You gotta be fucking.
y'all
kidding.
done fucked up now?"
No, you know what you said?
No.
You gotta be fucking kidding me. That's,
that's
what you
what I
said.
probably
That's
said.
what you
I
said.
dropped to a knee and I could see the guy clearly through my ACOG. And I just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I just kept unloading. And I know I hit the dude because I saw him fall and start rolling down the mountain. But then I remembered I have all tracers in my bag.
Oh shit.
At which point it was like, whoop, there's like
Yeah.
a big giant shoot me sign.
Yep.
So they had like a giant moment where they're all in a stadium hyping each other up, and then they decided to kamikaze you guys.
No, one dude was like an ambush. You initiate with your most casually
one dude with
producing
the
weapon.
RPG went
So he initiated, and I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And I just
starts running away.
I was just right on him. I was training on him.
Okay, got it. Okay, so those are the guy with the RPG. I
But
thought
yeah,
you meant
but you had
after
tracers, and so everything unloaded that way.
Right.
Exactly.
I usually had and the mags.
Yeah,
First of
that
all,
makes
I
sense.
only carried like 4 or 5 mags on me.
Makes sense as a commander.
And I would always have like the first 5 and the last 5.
yeah,
were
as
all-
tracers. Which
Like, why
makes
do I
sense.
need to shoot? I have a
Yeah,
radio.
you shouldn't have to shoot.
Yeah.
Right. So I
But you did that, and then everybody else shot.
Focused in
at
on
that.
that.
They did. They
Yes.
did. I mean, yes, but they also saw exactly where I was.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden there's like shit exploding all over me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fuck. What am I going to do? So do you remember in basic training having to low crawl for your life?
Oh no.
Yeah.
I
So I was
watched-
legit
yeah, I
digging a
watched it.
trench
Look,
with my
yeah.
head, like feeling
I
to
watched
get
that
to
shit,
him.
Yeah. I think it's another detail that's important though is to remember we're basically on a hilltop. They're on a hilltop, and there's like a little depression.
Yeah,
in the
it was
middle.
a huge depression. It was like 500 feet down in between us.
Yeah.
There was, that's
but
what we
how
had.
far would you say across between the two? I'm
It was
I'm
250
calling fingers.
meters.
Yeah, because it wasn't.
250 meters from hilltop to hilltop
Yeah.
where it started to go down.
It
So it went
wasn't-
down roughly
wasn't
200
far.
meters, came back up. We were like on this, on a piece of terrain like
Yeah.
this.
I would call it a I mean, I'm probably way off of my my wording here, but it was like 2 fingers, right, coming off of a mountain.
Yes.
Right, we're on this finger,
'Cause over
they're on
here,
that finger, and there's the depression.
You could walk around this side.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was definitely like 2 fingers.
It was
Anyway,
wild.
so I vividly remember low crawling back to you and getting back to the position.
Yep.
You know, like, you're like, so what do we do now? And I was like, well, we're going to fucking kill these assholes.
Legitimately said that too.
Yeah.
What we do now? What we do?
And, you know, everybody's shooting back, returning fire. I'm controlling the fight. I'm like, yeah, 6. You know, Buka, you're doing this. You got 1-6 doing that. They're all trained in that direction. That was probably the heaviest fire we'd taken on one position.
Absolutely.
In the many instances that we had been in.
Absolutely.
Little did we realize that was like where everybody, that was like the oldest trick in the book, was like, go to this place right here when the Americans assault, because then when the Americans are going to go there, that's where we shoot at them.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that's on me. That,
I don't think anybody knew that.
well, everybody else who went there learned the same lesson the hard way. Anyway, so it's the JTAC, Mike, McMahon, and me. And Wantrop. The 5 of us are behind this wall that's probably about the size of this table. Is about this, probably a little bit shorter than this.
Yeah, definitely a little shorter.
And I've got Nathan Aloysius. He's got the TACSAT. And I'm telling the battalion, I'm like, yeah, hey, we're in contact from, 60 degrees, whatever degrees. And all of a sudden I hear this smack. And I hear, oh, fuck. And then I just like, oh, fucking. And I look over and I see that there's just like a body like laying there on top of the TACSAT. And I'm like, hey, get him up. And you go, sir, he's fucked up. And I roll him over and I can see he's got he's got a bullet right in his face. I'm like, oh shit.
Dude, it was right above his left eyebrow.
Yeah.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. And I was like, call, well, get a medic.
Yep.
And so like, he screams medic. And do you remember Doc McKinney?
Doc McKinney,
Yeah. So Doc McKinney
runs right over. Good dude.
Just left completely with complete disregard for his own personal safety. Comes running, RPG explodes behind him, knocks him off his feet, helmet flies off.
Oh, didn't give a shit.
Gets up, starts running, another RPG knocks him off his feet. He's low crawling, comes over to us. He's like, what? I'm like, well, you're the fucking medic, fix him. Yeah. And he rolls him over, and I remember the look on his face. He goes, sir, he's fucked up. I'm like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
So he's like, hold on, let me do this. And he goes, he's gone. I'm like, oh, Jesus, this is, I did not expect to hear that.
Yeah, we in it now.
Rolls him on his side. He's like, I got a pulse. I got a heartbeat. I can hear him breathing.
He had that agnal breathing, though.
Yeah. I didn't realize that at the time. McKinney told me that afterward. And I was like, we need to figure something out. I was like, hey, Nate, call them at TACSAT. And I was like, I can't. The TACSAT's broken. He fucking died on it. Like, he fell on it and it's broken. Like, we have no comms anywhere. I'm like, all right, well, and that's like, TACSAT's broke. What the fuck are we gonna do now? Yeah. I'm like, I don't know, Mike. Shut up.
Dude, that was.
Shut the fuck up. I don't know.
That was wild.
I don't know what we're gonna do. So I was like, all right, let's start reorganizing the perimeter. We didn't have Greg with us. We had what's his name was with us. The First Sergeant. Crusader 7. Anyway, great dude, great American is like, and I can hear him on the radio. He's like, hey, yeah, we're taking heavy fire from the west now, and like they're coming near us. And I can hear First Platoon, who is to our north, who I sent up the hill. Welsh.
They're in contact.
He's like, we're in contact now. Yeah. And I was like, oh boy, this is not good. This is not good whatsoever. Buka calls me. He's like, hey, these fuckers are maneuvering on us. And I was like, now we're surrounded on the north. There's no place to go on the south. We're in serious contact on the west. And now somebody's moving to our east. Jesus. So I was like, we need to really reevaluate this perimeter. So we start moving some people around. Cypher was his name. Sorry, Cypher.
Yeah.
Shout out. At least I remembered your call sign. So we start reorganizing the perimeter, and and I was like, Mike, we need to figure something out. Like we need to call for help at this point. Like we need a medevac. Like I don't know what we're gonna do. Yeah. So reorganizing, moving some ammo around, and that's when Grimes, it was the divine intervention. He's like,
I got one.
He's like,
motherfucker.
Yells at you. He's like, I got a TACSAT antenna. You need it? I'm like,
yeah. Yeah, motherfucker.
Yeah. How do I, and he's probably from here to the end of your driveway from us. And he's like, how do I get it to you? And you're like, crawl, asshole. So he starts high crawling, rounds pinging all around him. And you're like, get your head down.
That was so wild.
He goes, if he gets shot in the face and dies right there, who we sending to get the antenna?
Good question, though.
No, yeah.
Man, that's a good
very
question.
valid.
I mean, you're getting it. That was,
Yeah.
Well, I knew the answer.
that was the answer.
Well, that's what he
I knew
meant.
the answer. I just wanted to know.
I didn't want to be like, not me.
well,
down his chest.
you need the antenna, right?
We're going to play paper, rock, rank. And
Yeah, everybody knew. Like you knew too. You're like,
100%.
I got it, sir.
It's a valid question, though, right?
I got it.
Hey, we know who's getting this,
anyway,
right?
Grimes made it to our position.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
But then also, if you remember, Cypher made it there, and he's like trying to tell us what's going on. And now we're taking RPGs left and right. And I remember Bittner from the west side of the perimeter screaming.
thing.
He was so loud.
Doing his thing. You could hear him.
So
during the
loud.
Fight. It's crazy.
All of you can't be there. You guys gotta fucking move. I'll shoot you myself.
Yep.
I'm like,
Yep.
I was like, yeah, hey, we can't all be here, so we need to disperse.
Yeah, we did. We ended.
So I was like, Nate, you need to get battalion on the air right now. I don't remember where you guys went.
We went
Everybody
up to where Mercer got shot in the head.
we kind of moved. I know you went up to the barnyard up there, or to the
That
pen.
yeah, it was like a little hut, and there was a rock wall around it. That's
I-
what we ran up to.
No, you didn't go there yet because now we had Grimes there, and now I have comms. I don't know how long this lasted. I heard it was 45 minutes. I heard it was 2 hours. I have no idea how long this went on. It went
couldn't
on a
tell you.
long time.
Yeah.
Mac is bleeding. You know, we're returning fire. We're in contact from multiple different directions. You need to get the guys from 1st Platoon on here to talk about what they did up there on the north side of the hill that day. Are you familiar with the Mad Minute?
No.
Yeah.
Steve Welsh was their squad leader and was like, this is what we're going to do. He's like, we're going to do a Mad Minute one at a time. You empty a magazine, you empty a magazine, you empty a magazine, you all the way down the line. And they threw all their hand grenades down the mountain one at a time. And that's what stopped us. That's what prevented us from getting overrun that day.
Yep.
And that's in the AR. Anyway, you need to get those guys on here to talk about that because there's a lot of guys that have some serious problems after that because it was pretty bad. Anyway,
Wait, so it's a Mad Minute. You're just suppressing a fire each
Yeah,
guy.
yeah. I mean, you know, Mad Minute, like linear danger area or whatever. You just fucking. I
Yes.
mean,
Oh, so it's kind of like peeling off.
no peeling. There's no
I'm
place
just saying,
to go.
like, just like engaging. Like you do a Mad Minute, right? At the
I'm going to empty
That-
one
like a-
magazine.
like a-
when I'm rounds complete, now it's his turn.
yeah,
all the way down the
L-shaped
line.
ambush, right? Mad
Okay,
Minute.
got it.
But
at the
instead
same
of a Mad
time-
Minute, you're
It's been
doing
like 15 years since I've been in the infantry.
true.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
At the same time, Welsh was like, everybody who has a hand grenade, you give them to me because while you're doing your Mad Minute, I'm throwing them down the hill.
Got it.
So he's like, I threw however many grenades. that day.
Constant suppression.
Yes, constant suppression went on for however long it takes for everybody to empty one full magazine. Because remember, all we could do is burst.
Yeah.
10 times, all the way down the line, 9 times. And that's what saved our northern flank that day. Like, that was clutch. Like that was some life saving shit right there.
Good on Welch.
So I remember getting Foley and I linked up, right? So we boogied out of that spot, right? But so that tax antenna first off was
No, you guys didn't move yet.
the
You guys
one
didn't
I
move-
had. I'm sorry.
You guys didn't move yet because however long it took,
The medevac came in and all that.
that was hours later.
Damn.
The
got
thing
this
that I
all
remember
fucked up,
is sitting there, and now finally, however long it took, I was finally able to get, higher battalion level on. And I was like, hey, this is 6. And like, hey, where have you been? Like, no time for pleasantries here. Hey, we are in contact from, 90 degrees, 60 degrees, 45 degrees, whatever. And I like went the whole thing. And I'm like, sounds like you guys are surrounded. Like, yes, listen, hey,
Correct.
you guys, we need, we have casualties. Like, we need to get these people out of here. And like, blah, 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 blah. Grimes, this is the part you forgot about. Grimes goes, we have 155s down there.
Yeah.
And I was like, we're going to need a fire mission. So I did an adjust fire polar from my position. All right. And first round comes in, and the first round is short. So remember, we're on something that looks like this, and the bad guys are right here. First round is behind them. All right. So I was like, adjust it and maybe, 150 meters this way. And then they're like, you know that this is 155 and this is like extremely danger close.
Yeah.
Blair.
Because you're on the other spur, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Blair
'Cause it's
was
like,
Exactly.
yeah.
Broken arrow.
yeah. Blair was the fire direction officer. I was in Ranger Regiment with him, and I heard his voice on there.
close.
He's like, you know that this is like extreme. I was like, yeah, Roger, Mike, Charlie, we just need to get these guys off of us so we can, treat these casualties, whatever. And he's like, all right, yeah, Roger, acknowledge, Mike, Charlie. And I remember turning, I was like, tell everybody get the fuck down. This is going to be close. All right. So we're sitting there, and that 155 lands in the middle of the valley right there. And it was like earth-shattering kaboom.
Rocked everything.
Rocked everything.
Yeah.
Shit flying everywhere, like pieces of wood, like flying all over the place. And it was like somebody pushing on your chest too, on the ground.
It's
Like,
close.
fuck, that was close. And then 1-6. 6, if you kill any of these guys and kill me, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And you're like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah. Sounds about
He
right.
thought for sure I was calling in rounds on ourselves, but I wasn't. I let the FDO know that was
A little long.
that was a little long. Yeah, we need to go shorter.
A little shorter.
Just for your angle T,
Yeah.
blah, 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 blah. Third round comes in and it lands like right in the middle from where these assholes are shooting at us. And I was like, yeah, hey, those are good rounds, fire for effect. And then boom, 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 boom. In the meantime, it's only like 250 meters from there. So we're just getting peppered with rocks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shit flying over us, like whizzing by us. And then they're like, yeah, round's complete. First time on the radio I got to say repeat. And I was like, repeat! And they're like, we need you to authenticate again. So yeah, I was like, Mike, Charlie, another battery of everything. And then it was eerily calm for a few minutes. So we got a few minutes to now adjust the perimeter, which is when you and I then ran to the western portion to figure out what we were going to do next. And we went into the barnyard over there.
Yes.
I call it the barnyard. I don't remember. It was like a calf pen. I could show you on satellite imagery exactly where it was. We went in there, organized the perimeter, and tried to figure out, now I've got comms with battalion, and they're like, nobody's coming to get, like, we can't get there. There's nothing we can do. The weather is just bad. And I was like, just so you understand, we're in contact from multiple different directions. We're down to less than, 2 magazines per assaulter.
We're low.
We're going to need to do something here. And like, well, we don't know what to tell you. Remember the 3? Just do the best you can.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I'll tell mothers that. When,
Yep.
Jesus.
So
I got it. I don't know if I told you this, but I got in touch with the female Chinook pilots who came and
it wasn't a female.
got us. I mean, no, there was 100% massive 5'3" and massive 5'5". One of them was a female.
His name was Brendan something.
Was he massive 5'3" or massive 5'5"?
I don't know, but it was the guy who got the air medal.
I know one of them was a female.
The pilots who came that day, he's kind of blowing the story now, but eventually what happened was
Came to pick you up.
we're on tac set and we're like, hey, we're surrounded, we're running low on ammo. After which point I got told, do the best you can. Like, the fuck do you think I'm doing here? Anyway, if you remember, I came out on company net, was like, go get the ammo from the dead and wounded right now, including the A&A. I personally ran over to an A&A guy and held him on the ground and took his ammo. I was like, I know you guys aren't going to shoot back, so it's fine. I need this more than you do right now. Sorry. Consolidated the perimeter. Shooting started again, and this was their final. Like they threw everything they had at us at this point.
Yeah.
You and I and Forrest Scott were in a corner over there,
Okay.
and we started taking heavy RPG fire. And it was at this point that directly to our right, we're facing south, so directly to the west. That's when Seretny was like, "Sir, they're coming," and we could see them hand grenade range away. I put Alex Seretny in for a Silver Star for this, and nobody believed the story afterward. So they were within hand grenade range. That's when Dr. Dirt goes, "We're going to do frag out right now." 3, 2, 1, frag out. And these dudes were running, and they ran past the hand grenades. Hand grenades exploded. knock them down. Oh, by the way, we forgot the part about Varney and what's his name? The New York cop that got their rifles shot out of their hands.
That was Hernandez.
Hernandez, yeah. Guys are returning fire.
Through the front. That was wild.
Fire from the front, rifle shot, inactive. Lost two guys on one mission took rounds right where their faces were into their rifles.
Think about
Jesus
that.
Christ.
That's not luck.
It's like lightning.
Yeah,
That's not
struck
that's not
twice.
luck. Yeah,
So
that somebody with some training was out there.
what's Hernandez's first name? Hernandez takes a round. He's like, I don't have a rifle. What am I? I'm fucking worthless. I can't shoot.
Shattered the magazine wall.
Yep, shattered the magazine. Same thing with
Wow. Out of all the places, yeah.
yeah, same thing with Varney. So they can't shoot back. So I think Hernandez went and got a rifle from one of the A&A guys that wasn't really participating.
I don't know where you got one from.
I don't remember. But anyway, Eden Varney, a squad leader, is like, I can't shoot back. And Seretny goes, here, take my rifle. I'll run ammo back and forth. So he was running ammo back from, it was probably a better part of a football field from where he was all the way to where Buka was and redistributing the ammo for the big guns because that's what we needed. So just running back and forth. Anyway, he comes back and that's when they're like, these dudes are on us. Like they're just gonna come. They're just gonna like throw a massive wave of humanity at us. So that's when he did 3, 2, 1 rounds. And this is back to the Seretny part. These dudes are assaulting to us. The grenades go off, knock them off their feet. One dude's dead. The other dude gets up and starts to run away. Seretny jumps over the wall with a hatchet. Remember we got the hatchets? Do you remember when we got the
He
hatchets?
used to always have like the knives in his sleeves. I remember that too.
And he always had a hatchet with him.
Yeah.
And he runs up. He hacks the one guy as he's running by with a hatchet, catches the other guy and starts hacking him with a hatchet.
Nice.
And then takes his AK, shoots him, and then shoots the other guys who are assaulting us before Bittner goes, get the fuck back here. And that was the only reason why he did not go into the village by himself.
Oh, wow.
And when I wrote that on a Silver Star Award form, nobody believed it. And then we showed them the helmet cam video of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Props, Reddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Props.
He's not going to want to hear about that, but and I'm sure his mother doesn't want to hear that. But yes, he is a confirmed kill with a hatchet. I'm not sure if he killed the guy with the hatchet, so technically not. But he has a confirmed wound with a hatchet.
Yeah, there you go.
And I remember going, this is fucked up.
Dude, I'm telling you, I wiped a lot of this shit. Just
Seretny comes back over the wall, and then and Bittner's like, hey, if I ever see you do that again. And that's when Bittner got shot in the neck.
never.
So he did.
Shot? Was it like shrapnel?
It was a ricochet that hit him.
Okay.
Have you seen Brefort's camera footage from that?
I saw his camera footage with there was backblast from RPG. So like he got blown away.
Maybe it's not Brefort's then, because there's one where you could see Sheenus shooting over the wall.
Okay.
And then Sheenus stops for a second to adjust his eye pro, and then all of a sudden you hear Bittner go, ah!
Oh, no, I haven't seen that.
And that's when he was yelling at Seretny about, if I ever see you do that again. Anyway, so eventually this, I'm on the radio. I'm like, hey, we at least need more ammo. We need something here. Like, you guys need to help us out. Murphy, that's the guy's name. He hears this. He's like, I don't give a fuck if it's light out. Like, we're going in. Either you're going to send the Apaches with us or you're not. Like, we can't let these dudes just sit here and get overrun. Because I'm not saying it was going to happen. I'm not saying it wasn't going to happen. But, like, we were in a bad place. It was not good. It was certainly not good. We definitely had some wounded. Mac may or may not have been alive at that point. Hard to say. And we were running low on ammo, and they were not. So we needed some help.
When there's some A&A killed too?
No A&A died to my knowledge, because they didn't really fight back either. They weren't really into it, but I don't think any of the insurgents were targeting them either.
Yeah.
Anyway, so at this point, that's when Cypher's like, what's it going to take? Like, what's it going to take to get us some help here? Like, I didn't know what to say. So I was just like, hey, we're just going to sit here. We're going to fight. We're going to do the best we can. I don't remember how long it was after that, but all of a sudden I just happened to hear on the CAGNet is like, yeah, this is Angry 6-4. I'm inbound. I'm like, this is a good sign. And I happened to look up and I saw the round before I heard it. I saw the Hellfires come in and just start lighting these dudes up left and right, and like one after another of Apaches. I was like, all right, yeah, we're in good shape here.
Yep.
Nice.
You know when they tell you there'll never be a situation where you medevac somebody and you approach an aircraft from the 6 o'clock position if it's a 60? Yeah. Well, we did that to put Mac and to put, I want to say it was Brefort and Mercer on there because Mercer was down for the count at this point.
What happened?
You got to watch out for the tail.
Oh,
That's
I
it.
remember Mercer. Yeah,
Mercer,
he
the
shot in the head.
Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Yeah, shot in the head. And he survived.
Split it right open, right up the middle.
Yeah.
Like, oh
yeah.
shit.
He was unconscious though, so we had I think he was unconscious. I don't remember.
I talked to him when we were at the bar there for a hot second.
So we put him, we put Mac, there were a couple wounded A&A guys. Actually, there were some dead A&A guys. Now that you mention
So
it,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
We were just like loading bodies onto this thing, and like we can only take so many. I was like, "Fuck you!" Like, just take what we give you.
Yeah.
So then they took off. That's when, thankfully, another Chinook landed in the last remaining space that we had occupied with second platoon. Mm-hmm. You got to talk to Leon about that. You got to get Leon in here once. Do you remember Leon?
Of course, yeah. I'm social media friends.
Yeah, good. Because his whole thing was that when all this was going down, all the guys were really pissed. They were like, somebody's got to get us in there because like we want a piece of this fight, and this is our company. He's like, when they were gonna send ACO in with us, apparently like he got into it with Frank the Tank. He's like, if anybody's going in there, sir, it's gonna be my guys. Back the fuck off. He's like, all right, I don't care. Just let's go. Came in with Frank the Tank. Frank the Tank gets on the ground. It was one of the few times in my life I've been happy to see Frank. I tell him that every time I see him. And so they land. I was like, hey, listen, thanks, man. Like, we need this. They brought in tons of ammo. So we were able to suppress the western side because they were still coming at us. We were able to suppress the northern side, expand the airfield. And it was like, well, what are we going to do now? And it was like, it's light out. We either need to get everybody in here or we need to get everybody out of here.
Yeah.
We did the latter.
Well, I mean, this is a company. I'm the company commander. I'm the ground force commander at the time. And I'm like, we're not combat effective. Like, we've got a ton of wounded. We're running low on ammo. You just brought us some shit. And I'm telling the battalion, I'm like, you either need to get everybody in here, or you need to get everybody the fuck out of here.
Damn.
So they're like, get the fuck out of there. I'm like, all right, fine, let's go. I would recommend that.
Yeah.
I sat next to Hernandez on the way back.
I'm also actually very tired and wet, and I would not mind coming back right now. So if you recall, that's when they were like, all right, prep for exfil. We started exfilling.
So that wasn't Massive 5'3" and 5'5" who came and got us.
It was definitely Massive something. I don't remember the female pilot. I remember Murphy because he got a distinguished flying cross for that mission.
Apache pilot or a Chinook pilot? Was he Apache pilot or a Chinook pilot?
He was a Chinook pilot.
Okay.
The Apaches guys, I don't think they got anything for that, but they should have. They should have gotten marksmanship badges for that because they laid the scunion.
Yeah. I remember seeing that guy rocking that 240 on the tail gun or the side door. Just
yeah, they were not fucking around. So anyway, they got us out of there. We flew back to Menderlam. We got. I knew this was bad when we first of all. The last thing that I grabbed on the way out was Mac's helmet, his bloody helmet, because I didn't want to leave anything. And I got on the aircraft. I was the last one to get on the aircraft. We landed.
Always.
We landed Menderlam.
Yeah.
I remember, plugging my headset in and being like, "Hey man, that was ballsy. I really appreciate it. We seriously needed that right there." And then Murphy's like, "Hey man, anytime. Nope, you guys shouldn't have been in that position in the first place."
Yeah, whoever that was.
We get off the aircraft and Kenyon hugs me. Kenyon.
Really?
He's like, "Oh, I didn't think I was ever gonna see you again." I'm like,
Oh
Kenyon?
shit!
he was the ops sergeant major in the battalion.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, and then Vicinis was like, "Oh, we didn't think we were gonna see you guys ever again." Like, all right, that's great.
Sounds about right.
I'll bleep this out, but is this Cap passed away?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I assumed that. I had heard through Game of Telephones. I thought he had passed away. Like one of those missions where we find an IED and then like we call an EOD, and then I heard that he was
their company commander.
Right, but I heard he got hit on one of those just on a patrol. I didn't realize it was during Masamute.
No, it was during Masamute. Yeah, right next to me and right in between us.
He broke my tax set. That's
Yeah.
why I wasn't on the radio.
Yeah.
Fucking
That's
broke
why
our
he
tax
keeps saying
set.
that I was talking to battalion. I'm talking to battalion. I'm not talking to them because my tax set is broken.
You were talking to nobody.
I'm talking to nobody. My shit was.
Yeah, no, I had no idea he passed away during Masamute.
Yeah, it was bad. Anyway, the next part of the story is that now we had to repatriate everybody. So some of the aircraft that exfilled our guys went back to Nijil. Some went back to not everybody was at the same place at this point. So like first platoon with a few assaulter plus some dudes, and anyway, some of us were in Nijil, some of us were in Menderlam. So I thought there was gonna be like a battalion hot wash or something, and they're like, yeah, no. So I was really, I was very upset.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Not the most professional thing I ever did, but I went in the S3's office and I took the bloody helmet and I tossed it on the S3's desk. And I was like, not for nothing, sir, but if my mother was alive, she'd be very upset if she had seen that. And I walked out. And then I went over to, and I went,
Dude, this is a fucked up day, man.
yeah, I was covered in blood.
Say the least, yeah.
Yeah, it was a fucked up day.
Covered in all kinds of blood and everything. And then they're like, yeah, hey, we're going to fly you guys back to Nijil. I'm like, okay, fine. Hour or so later, I have no idea how much time passed. We fly back to Nijil. If you recall, I was like, hey, listen, everybody, you fucking D-kit right now. Chow Hall. Yep. We're going to hot wash the fuck out of this right now.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So everybody goes in there and we start talking about, all right, let's start hot washing the shit out of this right now, right? Let's talk about phase 1, planning. And then Brutus 5 comes in. Hey, sir, you got a call. You need to take this right now. Do you remember this?
Mm-mm.
Bullshit.
I don't remember anything from the rest of that day. Telling you.
I go and I take the call, and it's the S3, and he's like, hey, yeah, brigade's not happy with how that went. You guys are going right back in.
Oh, I do remember. First sergeant came in and said, "Hey, we're getting ready to go
wasn't.
back."
First sergeant
He told me. I was pissed. Okay, so I remember saying to him,
First sergeant wasn't there.
No. Then who the fuck said that to me? Because I was like, no, we can't go back because we don't have our shit together.
It was me. It was me. There was no first sergeant there. I was the.
He was on leave, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
There was no cipher.
So you rolled right back. So they wanted you to roll. They wanted you to roll back in.
Exactly.
The Terry needs to hear this because he wasn't there. He should have been. But where were you? I wish you could have IST'd with those guys. Let me tell you, this was.
So it was crazy too because so when I got in 2008. So I got in. The Lurs had got back in 2005. So I was like, okay, we're ready to go.
From Iraq, right?
From Iraq.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, we're going.
God, I love those
definitely
guys so
going.
much,
We're definitely going. And then these guys volunteer and we get promised that we're going somewhere and then they deflag it, right? So then it becomes
But it became an airborne infantry company, which means more opportunities.
Yeah, so. which worked out well.
Samesies.
That's crazy. You're going right back in? Get the fuck out of here.
Going right back in.
You know what's interesting? I don't know if you remember my diary I wrote. I remember being on a stretcher, and I remember Robertson yelling at me. He was like, "Stay awake, Terry. You gotta stay awake." And I was like, "Fuck this. I'm tired.
I want to go to sleep."
Yeah. So so I remember letting myself drift off and just falling asleep and waking up in the Ford Hospital. But Jones, when I caught up with him at Walter Reed, he was like, "Nah, man, you're awake the whole time." I go, "Really?" He goes, "Yeah, you were wide open, and even on the bird, you were wide open. You were just staring off." So obviously he was coherent and could remember that. But in my brain, I literally said, "All right, fuck this. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep." And I woke up in the Florida hospital. But apparently, what happened in the real world was I was wide awake. I had 1,000-yard stare, and I was just staring off in the distance. I don't remember any of that shit. Yeah.
Bro, that was, as I said, that was the darkest time in the deployment of anybody who could have gotten hit.
Nobody would have thought, yeah.
There were a couple guys I kind of wish it would have happened to instead, but
yeah. But this is the most fittest guy in our.
Not just fit, but it was does the podcast know where you were on your way to after when you were going? Where were you going on leave?
I mean, my friends know. Yeah, I was going to Peru to
Why?
Teach kids English. Yeah, orphanage.
I know.
Really?
Yeah. That's what you're doing.
Life is so cruel. This is somebody who volunteered to come with us, and this is the hand that life deals in.
I lived though.
Of course you did, but my point is that when you examine it in context, I talk to folks about this.
We wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah, you're right. We wouldn't. But you know, when I examine this in context and I try to tell people about it, like, I'm not gonna lie, bring this up in job interviews. I'm like, they're like, why do you want to work at the VA? And I don't say her name, but I tell the Terry Rajanbas story. I'm like, here's a kid who's, you know, his parents came here because they were proud and they wanted to be Americans, and you know, he volunteers for this, and then this happens, and like, this is why I'm here. This is why for you know, people like that. And usually that's met with a break. Yeah, we're gonna need a moment.
Give me a minute. Give me a minute.
Yeah, like when I tell people that story, and I'm like, that's why.
Yeah,
I appreciate it, sir. Yeah, I
doesn't go unnoticed.
I mean, honestly, I appreciate that you hold me in that regard. Because when I look back, I just feel guilty. I feel like a fucking idiot.
Nope, you did.
No, I mean, like to take. I did. So to try to be unbiased, yes, like it's a close ambush. There's no real right answer, but like what I did was just stupid, just point blank. And so it's like, I don't know. I look back, it's just like, fuck, man.
Do you remember what I used to tell you guys all the time? I don't care if you make a mistake, make it at full speed and do it with violence of action. And that's exactly what you did.
I did that.
Yeah, boom.
Yeah, no, I did that.
Worst decision is indecision, man. That's the worst decision, indecision.
Yeah, and as much as it breaks my heart that happened, like, I understand that this is, you know, if you want to make an omelet, you're going to have to break a few eggs. I wish you weren't the egg that got broken. There were some other ones that, you know, I wouldn't have been so upset about. There, I said it. It's on record.
Yeah, right.
But you know, as I said, there's nothing for you to be ashamed about whatsoever, or to feel any. Nobody thinks that way, and you know, I'm the only adult that was there, and I don't feel that way. So yeah, I mean,
I'm sure fucking Lou doesn't feel that way.
Yeah,
either. Like,
yeah.
He's like,
Lou was probably like, oh, this guy's a fucking animal,
fucking maniac. Look at him.
Well, he respected it.
now.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean,
and if nothing else, you earned Lou Capaldi's respect out of that. Like,
Yeah,
that should tell you something.
Yeah, he did.
Now, I'm not sure if it was all worth it, but you know, nonetheless, that says something about your character. That says something about, you know, the group of guys that you were downrange with. That, you know, that's there was a lot of divine intervention that happened in between 2009 and 2011. And I would submit to you that the divine intervention that resulted in all of our being together, you know, is indicative of something that there.
What
exactly? I don't know.
I mean, and I don't want to be disrespectful, especially if you're religious, because that's where I lost my religion, you know, in Afghanistan.
And it happens, man.
Because I grew up Pentecostal my entire life.
Really?
Yeah. So like my parents, when they immigrated here, they met a preacher, and he was Pentecostal. So I was born in the church, speaking in tongues, you know, praying to the
Dancing with
devil.
snakes.
It's real.
Oh, that on that level, yes, clapping hymns and like just kind of like that kind of vibe. So like,
Were they all black?
that was essentially the vibe of the church. Yes,
Yeah.
Like, you know, when you watch the movies,
Black church.
that what it is. The way we clapped and danced and sang. Yep. So like, I remember being on top of the mountain, and I begged to God, because I was always taught as a kid, when you need God, you pray and He will deliver. And I wasn't like, oh, like, you know, some angels that come out or some fucking mystery soldier I don't know. But I tell you what, I was ready to die only because I know nobody was there for me. Nobody was going to save me. So in that split second, I threw myself off a fucking mountain, and like, people don't even believe me. And then in that moment,
turned out to be the best thing you could have done.
Well,
that's where he
yeah,
found you.
but the gist of it is like, I just what's the point of praying if like, and I get it too. I get it. Like, we're grown adults. Like,
Yeah, but you're almost answering your own question.
War is
right?
a devil's
Like,
game, though.
You're like,
Let him go.
why did, well, yeah.
But
okay,
war is a
yeah.
devil's game, right? It's got nothing to do with God. But if I'm to believe that my entire life, if I need God if I really need God, pray out, He'll reach out to you. That was the moment where I really needed God, and He was going to let me die. So what's the point of praying if He's going to let me die in that moment?
But you didn't.
Because I saved myself.
That's what God wants you to do.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue from every.
I mean,
he inspired you to throw yourself off a mountain.
yeah, like
Normal
He don't
person
give
wouldn't
you
do that.
more than you can handle.
Look, bro, I'm not
want
here.
to get like I'm not a.
I'm gonna give you all the lines.
yeah.
I'm not here to try and sway you one way or the other. If I don't care if you like God or not, or you know, worship what you want. But I'm just happy you're here, bro.
Appreciate
Yeah, I think we all are.
Yeah. I'm glad that worked out. But yes, I can totally see where you lost your faith in it. I'm not going to judge you over that. I don't give a shit if you don't fucking worship the way that I do. That's what makes this country great.
Yeah.
Think about there had to be at least one Muslim in our country in our company while we were there. Maybe not. Maybe not.
So no.
No.
No Jews
the
either.
Dog killer.
Oh,
He doesn't count. He might be one of the five.
I'm not touching that.
I don't want to say his
Yeah,
name.
I'm not
whatever.
touching
I don't
that.
want to say his name. Hakimullah Masood,
Yeah.
the platoon leader.
But he was definitely a Muslim.
Let me ask her. Why do you think you don't have PTSD?
Because I feel like I'm from the same ilk that you are, like raised by immigrant. My parents weren't immigrants, but I'm a couple. My grandparents were immigrants. My parents grew up in abject, borderline unspeakable poverty. Like there's no fucking time for that. Like you need to worry about getting by. And I'm not
Yes.
trying to shit on anybody that has PTSD because, but I just feel like that was our culture. Like you're just.
A lot of crutching going on with that. I saw.
And I don't know, like
I know.
I know you grew up in
saw
a very similar environment too, and
Yeah, and it goes to really, and as I said, and it's been saying this over and over again. It's really like we don't have time to be worried about the wrong shit,
Right.
Yeah. And so what do? You erase it and you move on. You go on to the next problem. You go on to the next thing. The next thing, because shit got to get done.
yeah,
And I get more therapy or more fulfillment out of getting shit done as opposed to dwelling
That's why I
on
got
shit.
this tattoo. Take action. Set
Yeah,
a goal.
man.
Yeah.
Because again, the worst decision is indecision, right?
I spent a lot of time chewing it over, and I wonder, I'm not trying to air out family laundry and shit. My parents
get
are
it out there.
immigrants.
Oh, now your parents. I don't want to talk.
Yeah, they're but so I was raised really raw. My parents didn't accept bullshit.
Yeah.
My dad was a hard guy. And I think at a young age, when your dad's really tough, you have to learn to resolve and just move on. You have to resolve really quick any kind of internal pain. You got to self-soothe, And I think that's what helps for guys like myself or you with PTSD. Like we just learn, okay, it hurts, pity party, whatever, real quick, and just fucking move on.
And Charlie, I'm a big fan of it.
I don't. If I'm getting too personal, tell me. But how did your parents deal with your getting injured and all that? Did they understand what you went through?
Yeah. I'm not. Again, I don't want to
You're not shitting on them,
Shit
but I
on
mean,
them, yeah.
they also. I understand their perspective.
They're not the whole I love you, son. Oh my God, I missed you. Let me give you a hug. I've never had that my entire life, right. which is fine because the way I'm built, it's that means I don't need that. So I just got me, and then God at a certain point, or that till then. So I just I think that's why I don't have PTSD. If I'm sad, which I did years of drinking, I do a lot of things to help myself, and I just fucking move on.
But I've seen a distinct change from when we started doing these things too.
Yeah, shit this helps.
Yeah, because I mean, for myself, definitely. And then even when me and Terry started this thing, we kind of we were like, hey, let's fucking air our laundry.
Is that the point of the podcast?
I honestly, it kind of
fun. It's just fun.
Yeah, it's just fun.
And therapeutic.
But honestly, it was therapy.
That's what I was hoping.
It's
it was therapeutic for all of you.
It's so like when I let all the stuff that I was holding on to in Afghanistan, the stuff I've dealt with, it was almost like it's recorded, and now it's out of me. So you're good with it, and then and I've seen Terry change over the last when we started these things. I mean,
it's been almost 5 years now, hasn't it?
It's been a bit now. No,
5 years.
2021, 20 first one.
3 years probably.
3 years. 3 years.
Only 2022. I watch all these, by the way.
That's awesome.
Do you?
That's
Yes.
awesome.
I appreciate it, sir. Thanks.
Yeah,
From start to finish.
Yeah, they're. I mean, some they are good.
I love it when you bleep people's names out.
I'm literally thinking later. I'm going to reach out to the local jag and ask some questions.
Yeah. But and I think actually there was a turning point with one of the podcasts. We were talking about just emotions, and he's like, I grew up not crying because you
Right.
cry.
I
you know
remember
that?
that one.
And then I was like, well, hey, fucking sometimes you do, whatever. And it was and he never agreed, obviously, and it's just like it is what it is. But there's a slow movement with it, and I think look, when you talk about things, even you don't realize that you're emotionally like a part of it. It airs that laundry out where you kind of can feel a little bit better.
So is this therapeutic for you too, Zach?
It is.
Yeah?
It is. I feel like it is. Yeah. And we've had some people on where it's like help maybe kind of like having them tell their story. And like they've said, hey, that was like the best thing I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah?
And then I actually had one of the dudes that I was on deployment with. And like when I told my story, he like reached out and he was just like, hey, man, thanks for putting it out there. Like, because like the shit that we dealt with was fucking shitty and it was fucking terrible. And like he's like, oh man, somebody talked about it. That's cool. Like, thanks. Like, even for that one person, I think it's therapeutic for myself to like talk about it. So it's good. I think it's been good so far. I like it,
and I don't mind hearing about it either. You know,
maybe it's like we're giving voice to like all the other soldiers who aren't fucking Delta, you know, because that's all you see on YouTube. Really.
I don't know. Maybe I suppose. I mean, I just like I see where with your upbringing and like, you know, I just, as I said, it's kind of the litmus test for America right there. And with, as I said, I just imagine, you know, these proud people coming here and like, we're going to be American now. And I can see them. I've never met your parents. I can see why they were hard on you. And I'm not saying I agree with it, but like I see where they're coming from.
Oh, absolutely. Same here. Yeah. I think,
and I'm thankful. I'm thankful for them, you know, because you easily could have, you know, if they didn't come here and if they weren't hard on you, you wouldn't have been like, I'm volunteering to go down range.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be who I was. And that's tough to struggle with because I like who I am. I'm crazy enough.
And I do too, for that's worth.
Appreciate it. Like I want to climb Mount Everest. I don't think anything of it. I don't think anything's crazy. And I know like people are like, oh my God. But at the same time, I'm also the guy like, you know, like I'd rather die than fucking cry in front of someone and share my feelings. And that's just how I am. And like, that's not healthy, but I fought. That's what I want to do.
Yeah. You do you, man.
I mean, found other ways.
Yeah. You're not hurting anybody. So it's not like you're, you know, like, I don't want to cry in front of anybody. So I'm going to go and murder children.
Right. So but we talked about this plenty enough, sir. So, but what about you though? Why don't you think? What about your psychological makeup?
You want to know what the therapist had to say? That was a fucking interesting conversation. Okay. Yeah, they were just like, we just feel like you've had too much training. Like you've been through way too many traumatic things in training, and then you went. So, I went straight from pre-ranger, ranger school. Some training I can't talk about into combat, and they're just like, yeah, that's that's basically like, remember when you used to call me Dexter? He goes, you're like Dexter.
There's no look in the eyes, right? There's no color.
There's like shit blowing up around you, and like people are dying, and you're just like, okay, there's blood everywhere.
That's great.
What are we gonna do? Like I brought that up when I was legally ordered to go and talk to a psychologist after traumatic brain injury things, and they're just like, yeah, you know, and it's the VA too. So they're like, if you're not a shiftless alcoholic who's gonna hurt himself or someone else, then we're just trying to get you through the system. Yeah. And I get it. They're just like, yeah, you've had way too much training, and like a lot of this would have been psychologically damaging, except you've done all the psychological damaging things in training and didn't really affect you, I guess. I don't know. You're fine. Go away.
That works.
You don't think there's anything like just biologically that just allows you?
I have no idea. I can't speak to genetics or anything like that.
Well, I mean, I would just go based off like your parents. Like, were your parents very?
No, they're both. My parents grew up like he grew up.
See what I'm saying? So, like, I don't know. I think that kind of indoctrinates itself into you, right? Like, you pass it on, and it just continues being a part of you.
I don't know. Maybe. I'm definitely not that way with my son. I am. You know, my wife's
very emotional.
Yeah, all the time. Hugs and kisses. I'm probably breeding the next generation of softies, but
no, Don't say
but it feels good.
that. Nah, that all changes soon, I'm sure.
You know, and I'm brutal with him sometimes too. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
you know, hey, we're going to your swim lesson and we're not taking the car. We're going to run there.
I like it. Okay, good. Thank God.
The balance.
I guess. I don't know. I
But they
have no
love
idea.
it. But they love it too. Sometimes.
Sometimes he bitches about it.
Yeah.
And I'm
Sometimes
like, yeah,
but
well,
they're gonna love it eventually.
shut your cake hole. This is what's happening right
yeah.
now. You know,
It's pretty fun.
So you think there's maybe between me and you there's commonality of just a resilience at an early age.
I would say that the resilience that you were certainly conditioned to be more resilient than I was in an early age. Like I had hugs and kisses and all that thing, and like, you know, like I didn't see my dad cry till my grandmother died. But you know, we're also Italian. We're emotional people. You know, my grandmother used to cry all the fucking time over everything. You know, I spent tons of times. You know, she used to watch me with my grandfather who had Parkinson's disease, and she had to be tough with him, and then she would go in her room and cry, and I would watch it. You know, so I really don't have a good answer for you. I guess is what it comes down to. You know, and I don't think I'm like
it's each his own. Everybody's kind of got a different way of doing things, and it.
probably wired a certain way too. Like nobody held a gun to my head and made me jump out of airplanes for however many years.
That's kind of fucked up if you think about it.
Right? Yeah.
Like, you joined to do that. You kind of fucked.
Like, were you looking for extra money when you did that?
Yeah,
no. You're just like, oh, that seems cool.
It's cool.
Right.
Right?
Yeah,
Like,
that makes
everybody's
sense.
like-
There's also a certain level
He's
of
like, oh,
people. Yeah.
that's
like,
cool. It's crazy. Yeah. No,
I had
actually,
a time constraint.
Okay.
I think we're really high on time
Wrap it
at
up.
this point.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to.
No. Yeah, I think this is the
I think-
longest podcast we've ever done.
Yeah, this is the longest one we've
wrap
ever
it
had.
up.
Do
so
you
far.
want to finish up on Masamute then?
Send it.
Where did we leave off? Back in Najil?
Yes,
we got back to
the hot
Najil.
wash.
Yeah, we got back to Najil, the hot wash in the chow hall. I remember it was the chow hall. And then,
Go back.
Yeah, they were like, go back. Yeah, and I was like,
I came back in
You're
there and I
probably
was like,
right, yeah.
how the fuck am I going to break the news to these guys right here?
I just remember being like, how are you going to want us to go back? And I remember saying that.
So I vividly remember coming back in and I was like, hey, listen, guys, I got good news and I got bad news. The good news is we're going right back in. The bad news is I can't take everybody. So this is what we're going to do. Everybody go. We were already de-kitted. Everybody go and get as much dope and booze as you can, ammo and frags. And then we're going to meet back here. I'm going to give you guys 35 minutes. Whoever's back here, that's who we're taking. And then I never told you this, but I went back to my hooch.
Yeah.
And batteries too. I said grab as many batteries as you can because I didn't know how long this was going to last. I ran in the CP. I put my radios back on the charger. I went back in my room because that's my little hooch because that's where I had all my AA batteries. And I went in there and I fucking bawled my eyes out for like solid 5 minutes. I just needed to get that out. I was like, whew, all right, pull it together.
Yep.
You're the only adult here. Fucking let's go. Let's go. Let's get this shit together. And then there was a knock on the door. And I opened the door and it was Seretny. He's like, sir, just to let you know, I'm going with you. I'm like, okay, great. Get another knock on the door. Get another knock. Every single NCO in the company came and knocked on the door and said they were going, including the guys that we didn't take the first time. So that's what you were part of, Terry. That's the legacy you left. And then it turned out it was like, oh yeah, this is a really bad idea. We're not saying it. We were already kitted up. We're in fucking PZ posture.
We went back another week later? 2 weeks later?
About a month later, yeah, we went back.
Damn, see? I'm way off.
That was...
I just remember going back.
Yeah, it was about a week later or so. Because I remember I went on leave at the very end of... Right after that was when we had mandated leave. Like, we got to get you motherfuckers out of here.
Yeah.
Do you remember when we infilled and they had the Afghan SF went in before us, and then
Yes.
the brigade commander came in with us on our aircraft, and we landed. We're the first ones. So the on this part, those dudes went over there.
You're going to miss something.
What am I gonna miss?
The flight in.
Okay.
So on the flight in, and this is to a T. On the flight in, we hear on a radio a certain E7, and he's like, "We got a situation. I'm not gonna talk about it on a text."
No, it was on exfil. That was on exfil.
That was on exfil.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. See, I got it backwards.
Exfil.
Get there.
the Afghan Green Berets infilled over here and started clearing this way. And while we're in the air, they're like, they're in heavy contact. They need some backup. And I'm sitting there next to the brigade commander, who's now a 4-star General Pappas. And in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, well, I hate to sound like a dickhole, but I told you so. Mm-hmm. So we infill. We get on the ground, start pulling security. And I can see under my nods and looking through my rifle where they're in contact. And I was like, hey, we have angry Apaches on station. Yep. I was like, I'm going to have them start laying the scunion on this. He's like, hey, it's your show. Go ahead. And I can't tell you how many times I said Mike Charlie, dude, authenticating with my initials in the next 5 minutes. And there's what do you call it? There's an article in, I don't know if it's Stars and Stripes or whatever, but it says, the American forces killed 32 insurgents within the first 15 minutes on target. I was like,
dude,
it wasn't 32. Yeah. It was more like 21.
Yeah, way more. Yeah.
And I just remember if you recall the next day when they came up to start burying all the bodies.
I remember with the wheelbarrows and shit like that coming up from the village.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Crazy. Just like pieces of people.
Yep.
And we tried to tell them too. We're like, hey, if you guys don't shoot at us and put your weapons down, like on the bullhorns, with the interpreters on Booga Booga. Wadarega.
Oh, what was their word for attention? Tawaju. That's what he say. Tawaju. So it was like, attention, everybody, whatever. And I remember the Apaches coming straight in. I mean, they were coming low.
I've got some good videos of it. They came straight in. Yeah. Like, they were like, Tawaju. And we'd see like tracers coming at us. I'm like, yeah, guess what? Mike Charlie right there. Do you see where my laser's pointing right there? Yeah. I want you to blow that up right now. Yeah.
We're inside that house. I remember because obviously I was attached to him at the hip. We were inside of a house just watching over the village. Yeah.
Like, I can't get away from this guy. No matter how hard I try.
I don't think there was anywhere you went that I didn't go, except for like that time you went to Medevac for the commander's meeting or whatever that stuff was.
Yeah, the one time that I needed to be there that I wasn't. Whatever.
But yeah.
Kind of glad I wasn't there though when you got wounded though, because I don't know if I could have handled that, to be honest with you.
I wasn't. I appreciate it. I don't know.
As I said, it could have been anybody. Yeah, and it had to be him.
I mean, there were better picks that day. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I do remember Landro was telling me after like another intel brief we had. It was again one of those intel briefs where it was like, oh, we got like 13 suicide bombers and they got all these fucking things. And after I got hit, they were just like, fuck, we're all gonna die. Like walking around like, fuck.
Are you talking about the bub that we did every night?
No, before we go on mission, we would just like, I don't know, around like noon, we'd go inside the dining hall and they'd give us an intel. And then, see these guys were wearing Pumas on the screen and shit. And they'd be like, all right, they got like 13 suicide vests. They got this many fucking rockets and whatever.
Jesus.
Which was
who's the they?
Taliban.
S2.
That was giving you the intel brief.
We didn't have an. He was the S2.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
Actually, I was the S2.
It was
and the
somebody though.
He was
somebody would have it. I remember. I don't know why that stuck in my mind. I would just see him kind of like happy, walk up the hills, and they have their Pumas, and I'm like, these guys look so happy. It's like, why are they so like I'm gonna have to kill them later, but like they just seem so happy. That's the only thing I remember.
Yeah.
And I do remember the suicide bombing because after that, I do remember I was like, fuck, I'm gonna have to drop one of these kids. Because they put it on a kid.
Yeah.
And I do distinctly remember.
Struggled with that, man.
Yeah.
Struggled.
So, all right, I don't want to hold this any longer, but I got one question in mind.
Okay.
Because you dropped this on me like over a decade ago. We were at your Labor Day party.
Okay.
And we're all around the campfire drinking beers and marshmallows or whatever. And no, there wasn't any marshmallows, but anyways, we're drinking beers. And then you were telling the crowd the stories, and then you got a call that my heart stopped. What was that?
Yeah. We heard that your heart had stopped
on the way to Germany.
Nope, it was when they were exfilling him, and we were sitting there. So let me back up. That whole thing went down. I was in Medevac. I was watching most of it. Some of it on a screen. I was listening to some of it on the radio. Right, and all this went down, like we got wounded, blah, 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 blah. We're exfilling him. Like, oh, Jesus. Like we got him back to the cop. And then it came back to me that your heart had stopped. And I was like, oh, Jesus Christ.
Huh.
While I was sitting down there.
Okay.
I didn't know what to do. Like, I was like, is it true? Do I want to ask further details? Like, what am I going to do? Do I write a letter home? Do I not write a letter home? You know, I was in my own kind of, you know, like I was struggling with what to do because I had 100 other dudes who were depending on me. I couldn't get hung up on it. These things happen. And I vividly remember saying, like, Jesus Christ, I hope this kid's alive. I don't care if he's fucked up for the rest of his life, but I just hope that he's alive. And then I didn't know who it was at the time. And then later on, I found out that it was Terry Raj. And I was like, and I remember thinking, like, why of all the people it could have happened to. Anyway, so yeah, we heard that your heart had stopped. We heard so many rumors. We heard that that you were up and around, you were coming back. But that was the one that really stuck with me, is that we heard the rumor that your heart had stopped when they were exfilling you.
Okay. I appreciate that. Thanks. Because I don't know. I get bits and pieces from people. Like I got a bit from Block when I had spoke to him. This is around Lou's funeral. He was on the bird from some shrapnel on his forehead, and he told me that when he got to the Ford cop, they were all freaking out. I guess like they were like all the canisters weren't working, and like that the doctors had told me I was bleeding internally, like to the point where like if like another minute passed by, I would have died just from like just blood loss.
Yeah, that's what we heard too.
And so like he told me like they were freaking out, and he was like, well, fuck this, I'm gonna go check up on my guy. And he pushed back like the plastic curtains, and he said there was just blood everywhere and shit like that. So I appreciate letting me know, because that was such a like off comment. I was just like, wait, what? My heart stopped?
Yeah, we heard that your heart stopped.
Okay. Yeah. Because no one tells me this stuff, like, you know, like, because when I get to the hospital, it's just like, this is you're fucked up. This is what we're gonna do next. Like, so I didn't really.
Is that what happened in Walter Reed? They were just like, hey, you're all jacked up. I mean,
yeah. So
Germany first, right?
Yeah, Germany first.
You were unconscious the whole time that you remember.
For the first 2 days, yes. For the first 2 days, I was unconscious. And like the doctors talk to you. They act more like civilian doctors. They just don't really have a good sense. I was like, what kind of round was it? They were like, it was just a really big bullet, bigger than our normal rounds. So of course the guys we were fighting had PKMs and AKs. So I was like, okay, so it might
have been a 7.62.
Yes,
might have been a 50
most likely.
cal.
So, and they were just like, yeah, you're just lucky to be here. Like, you should.
It's still in you though,
dead.
right?
I mean, parts of the bullet, yes. It's all it's whatever strap. They went in and did 6 surgeries to get all the strap they could have. After 6 surgeries, they were like, we're gonna do more damage if we go back in. So they just left what they could.
Right.
And no, it's
a
just
couple
nice
transfusions too, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, a couple. I don't. Yeah, transfusions, but like my body for the 10 months had problems making blood. So I forgot what we did, but we had this. I just had problems generating blood for 10 months, and I was just constantly like essentially anemic and just tired. And I had like these bags, like I'd have like 2 to 3 bags in me, just like constantly pulling out pus from my legs. And but it's cool only because like I don't know any of this, because the doctors they only tell you so much to get you through the day, and they're on to the next patient. Mm-hmm. So like these little things it's nice to clear up. So I wasn't sure if you were saying in the moment, like, because maybe you're possibly emotional about it, or like my heart with that's what someone told me.
Yeah, LeBeau and I heard that your heart had stopped, and that
cool.
somehow you got revived. The details about how you got revived, I don't know.
So just like when I was at launch stool, they were gonna. This is another story. You probably heard me rant on this before, but like they were supposed to like move me out.
Yep.
And then I was pissed because one of the doctors called me a liar, and I started like screaming my head off.
I didn't know about they called you a liar about what.
Well, I was lying, to be honest.
About
so
not being wounded, so you could go back.
No. So like I was all fucked up on drugs, and so I don't know what I got a thought in my head. I was like, oh my god, they're gonna, because I was having an asthma attack.
Oh.
So I needed my inhaler. So like I'm in my mind, like I'm having an asthma attack. I'm like, oh fuck, they're gonna find out I have asthma and kick me out. Like I'm gonna get blacklisted. I remember thinking blacklisted.
I won't be able to go back to Najil.
Or well, actually, I kind of petitioned for that later. And so like I remember I was like, I started like fake crying because I needed an inhaler, but I also didn't want to get like in trouble. And so like for the entire day, it's like when you have asthma, it's like trying to breathe through a straw. You're like, I'm trying to breathe, and I'm all fucked up. And so at the end of the day, I go, listen, fuck it, I have asthma. Can you please give me an inhaler? And she goes, yeah, I know you have asthma. We called your family. So I'm like, this bitch.
Let me suffer.
I've been suffering this whole time, and she knows. And then they give me an inhaler. I feel better, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm gonna get in trouble. She knows. The army's gonna know. I'm gonna get kicked out. I'm never gonna get a job. And then I'm gonna say like, oh, you don't understand what it's like for us out there. It's bad. I'm trying to gain sympathy points for them to overlook the fact that I have asthma.
Yeah.
Again, I'm fucked up. I'm not thinking correctly. And then for whatever reason, there's CID involved. I remember clearly seeing CID, and it's a major's patch on his chest. And then I'm trying to do that again. Again, it's my fault. I'm giving these like crocodile tears. But then he calls me out. He goes, don't worry about it. Those are crocodile tears. And I get fucking pissed. I'm like, who the fuck are you? And then I was like, say that to my fucking face. I remember screaming that. Say that to my fucking face. And they're like, you gotta calm down. You gotta calm down.
God, Terry.
I pass out. I wake up. Several hours later,
handcuffed to a bed.
No. It's just the next day, and then I'm kind of like hanging on my bed or whatever. Several hours later, a full bird walks in, and he's like, hey, listen, I'm the commander of this hospital, and he's like, I just want you to know, don't worry about it. I got a lot of friends who are team guys. They have asthma. You don't have to worry about this. It's all good. It's not a big deal. And so,
I just wish I could have been there to advocate for you. Be like, do we care about his fucking asthma, or can we just make him not
It's a non-issue.
die?
Yeah, we worried about the wrong shit.
Yes, thank you.
Worried about the wrong
but they held me over for 2 nights because apparently
bullshit.
I got blood in my lungs and other shit going on. So like, it's just like things I kind of learned as it's still throughout the years, and so like I just
feel bad I wasn't there to advocate for you, because like if I was there, you could have hidden behind me and be like, listen, I have asthma.
Except you had 120 guys to deal with.
Yeah,
like
I know, but that's my job,
not,
bro.
I know that's not what you.
What do you think? What do you think Sergeant American would have done for him? Sergeant American would have been like, listen, he's got asthma. That's not a fucking problem. His problem is that he's shot and he's dying. Yeah. Fix that first, dickheads.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, so devil's advocate, now that I've been so many years removed, she was right. She called me out, and she was right. It's just that contextually, it's like, I don't know why you're
not the time to do that.
It's not the time. I don't know why you're holding out the inhaler on me. I talked to a therapist about it through the VA because like when I get angry, I get really angry, so I wanted to address that situation. But she was just like, yeah, I mean, if you put yourself in her shoes, she's been stationed there for how many years? How many broken soldiers has she seen? She's probably jaded, I can get that. Because after my 10 months of Walter Reed, like everything's normal. Some dude's missing half his skull. He's wearing a diaper on his head. Like you kind of get used to it.
They're like, get in uniform. Like, fuck you.
It was like formations at 07. I'm like in my wheelchair. I'm like, fuck, I gotta make it a formation. They're like, you see fine enough. You could do CP duty for the next 12 hours, which I did.
Wow.
So I got a lot of shit still remnant from Walter Reed.
You got more PTSD from Walter Reed than anything else.
Yeah, and you're the one that got shot. Like, who are these fucked-it? Oh.
Yeah, so
that's wild.
All right, I think we should probably close it out.
Yeah, this is definitely the longest one so far.
The longest one. Right. But gentlemen, thank you so much for stopping
thanks
by.
for having us.
This is great.
Honestly.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get Globo out here one day.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from everyone else's, from Welch's perspective, Seretny's perspective, more on Masamute.
Me too.
Yeah. So. Yeah. All right.
Toulouse.
Yeah, Toulouse.
Toulouse. Yeah, cheers.
A great American.
I don't have anything. Great American heroes.